Don't you know? Don't you know? We all need someone to love, need someone to make it feel like home. Like home. You make me feel I'm home. You bring me up when I hear only radio silent. Play me a song on repeat. You hit me like right now, right now. You hit me like chemicals. I doubt I'll never gonna let you go. To come down feels like a bitter antidote. Never let go, never let go. Right now, you hit me like chemicals. I doubt Stay, don't you go. You make my every cell flow, my every breath slow and calm. Yeah, that's how you make me feel I'm yours. You bring me up when I hear only radio static. Play me a song.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Week number 4 of the Collegiate Rival Series. My name is Soren, and joining me on the desk today as your casters is the wonderful Mega Ninja and Diatonic. Gentlemen, how we feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's good for me to be back. I wasn't here last week, but I'm excited to be back and casting more rivals.
Yeah, same here. I mean, hey, we've been trading off, Soren. 1 week I'm on the host, and now I'm on the
Absolutely.
cast again. So good to get some games in today. But yeah, I got a couple of heavy hitter matchups, I would say. So I'm ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about the matchup, I guess we will talk about real quick. We have U of T Thunderbolts at the University of Toronto versus Cal Poly Pomona, so CPP. They are going to be going at, and that is the Galactic team. So both of these are the B teams for their respective organizations and their respective universities. They are towards the bottom of the table, the 25th and 26th seed. But man, I mean, Diatonic, you can talk about it briefly, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be at least a close matchup here.
Yeah, I would say so. We got two teams that are still in the hunt for their first win in the CRS fall split. So both 0-3 right now. Plenty of opportunity to make a comeback. I believe it's the top half of the field that breaks out into those playoffs. So plenty of opportunity for them to catch up. So I think both teams kind of looking to take this week as the opportunity to get the ball rolling.
Wait, sorry. I think my my mic input is incorrect.
Oh, is it
Wait,
swapped?
allow me to. It was swapped. Hold on. Wait, give me 1 second. Do I have to refresh the page?
Well,
now?
we could keep moving on here because we can talk about the maps at least. Welcome back to the Convoy Rival Series. We are back on Convoy. It is still a random map selection as it's been all season long, but we are yet again going back to Convoy. I swear it's not rigged. We're going to be going over the Spider Islands. Diatonic, Spider Islands, what are your thoughts on that map? What are we expecting to see here?
Man, so yeah, of the Convoy maps, I feel like Spider Islands is one that, to me, outright, at least the first couple checkpoints do feel a lot more offense friendly. Something like, for example, Yggdrasil Path, the first checkpoint does seem a little bit defense coded. You've got some high ground, you've got some opportunities for some flanks and some chokes, but I feel like Spider Islands is particularly flat. Like, you've got that one staircase on checkpoint 1, checkpoint 3, obviously storming the castle. That's definitely defense heavy, but I do feel like it's a little more offense coded. You see a lot more kind of rapid fire offense runs off the bat, and then defense is a little slower till the end. So, I expect to see kind of right out the gate a lot of brawling here for sure.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You listen, I think my mic is fixed. Is my mic fixed, Chad?
You're good.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
You
okay,
sound
awesome,
beautiful.
perfect. Okay, good. Yeah, no, I mean, I wasn't here last week, but I still play the game. But I personally love this map on attack. I think it's pretty friendly for the attackers. I have a quick question though. Since we have this new patch drop and I think Daredevil's now available, have we been seeing a lot of Daredevil being played?
You're the Daredevil man, Diatonic. I know Daredevil's getting a lot of play. I just don't know specifically it's on Spider Island or not.
Yeah, we haven't seen him too much in Collegiate. Obviously, we're in this weird kind of in-between on the Tier 1 rival space where we're kind of waiting for DreamHack Atlanta coming up later next week. And a lot of teams are kind of saving some of their strats here. So even the teams that are out there playing in community tournaments, we haven't gotten to see him a lot. It does seem like a lot of the pros are saying he's at least falling somewhere in the middle of the pack in terms of competitive viability. Some people are rating him a lot higher. I feel like he's very anti-strategist, very good at getting right into that back line and dishing out some serious damage. So, I mean, yeah, I think he does have a place in this meta for sure. Obviously, I'm a little biased, favorite Marvel character. I'd love to see Daredevil S tier, but I don't think he's quite that high, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. But with that being said, we are running a little bit behind schedule, so we're going to be kicking it in the game here relatively soon. But with that, we are going to get predictions in. I am going to be first up as the host. Personally, not a lot of information from these two teams. We haven't seen all that much of them, so I'm going to be leaning towards the University of Toronto Thunderbolts. A little bit more information on them, and I don't know, I just get a vibe from them. What about you, Mega Ninja?
I again, I don't know a lot about these teams, but I have to give it to the Thunderbolts. I think that, both teams are looking for their first win, but I got to give it to Thunderbolts, honestly.
I'm going to be the spicy one here. I like the Thunderbolts. I appreciate the Marvel theming, but I'm going to go for CPP Galactic. CPP Infinite was pretty dominant in the summer split here in the CRS. So, somewhere in there's got to be some of that same latent talent, right, and ability. So, yeah, not to dish out any kind of hate towards the Thunderbolts at all, but I'll defer from the majority opinion here.
Absolutely. Diatonic, we are yet again on the opposite sides of the predictions. We will have to wait and see who comes out on top this time. We're 1-1 so far. But with that being said, I believe game is pretty much ready to go. Never mind, we have to wait a little bit more time, but we are going to be going over to Spider Islands. Just as a reminder for the general way we do maps here at the CRS, obviously first map is completely randomized. It just so happens that we tend to land on Convoy for the past 4 weeks. But after that, the first team to end up losing the map, they get map selection and any game mode that they would like for map number 2. And if we do end up going to game 3, it's the exact same scenario. Whoever loses map 2 will get selection for map number 3. But with that being said, they are ready. So we are going to be going into Spider Islands. You two casters, you're going to be taking it away. I'll see you in just a couple of minutes.
All right. Thank you, Soren. What a beautiful intro. I know it was a little scuffed on my end, but luckily we got through it all, and so we're going to be getting into this ban and protect phase here. What are you looking for protects and bans, especially on Spider Islands?
Yeah, Spider Island's higher ceilings, so definitely opportunity for Flyers if they want to bring that to the table. I feel like Ultron hasn't seen a lot of play this season, so he's kind of out, but, always looking for like a Human Torch kind of play here and there. Starting things off, though, this is what I've been seeing a little bit of lately in this season competitively. Thunderbolt going to ban out the Invisible Woman, so going after the strategist, of course. CPP Galactic starting with the Hela ban, so, Phoenix kind of got some nerfs coming into season 4.5, no more Beyblade strats, so Hela's kind of picked up some steam here lately, but they're also going to save Doctor Strange. So I've been seeing this a lot. Teams are banning Strange. That portal recontest potential is huge. So people are not wanting to deal with this, not wanting to give away those opportunities to get back in on fights that you already should have lost. So they're gonna keep that for themselves there. Both teams though gonna ban out Hela, and Thunderbolts gonna save the Luna for themselves. So yeah, I would say at least from what I've seen of season 4.5, pretty standard stuff here for the first draft phase at least.
Yeah, it absolutely seems like Hela is this dominant DPS figure that has kind of taken up a lot of slack, where a lot of changes have come through, away from the Human Torch and the Phoenix. Maybe the Bucky is gone, but it seems like Hela is pretty much a mainstay right now, and so both teams banning them out. It looks like Strange is going to be banned from the side of Galactic, so not allowing Thunderbolts to play the Strange while also having the Strange themselves. Pretty good for overtime situations. If they have to go back for a recontest, then they can have that portal while Thunderbolts aren't able to do that themselves. So pretty interesting to see that come through as both a protect and a ban. Looks like Emma's going to be banned from the side of the Thunderbolts, and Cloak and Dagger banned from the side of Galactic. Again, getting rid of these strategists that are pretty powerful when it comes to their ultimate abilities. again, we see this tank ban and protect on the same side. You know, you see that first from the Strange from the side of Galactic, and then you see Emma getting banned and protected from the Thunderbolt. So they clearly want to have this advantage over the other team.
Yeah, there's a couple interesting things happening here. I think the one-sided Strange for Galactic is huge. I like Emma. I think Emma is still extremely viable, and having her one-sided for the Thunderbolts is not bad, but I guess I don't feel like she has as much impact. CPP Galactic banned Magneto, so they don't want to deal with the old school, Season 2, Season 3 Magma line there, so not a bad choice at all. But also interesting from Galactic, they did ban the Cloak and Dagger. I feel like Cloak and Dagger have really kind of fallen out of form in this season. You're not seeing a lot of C&D being played in competitive matches, so interesting that they would opt for that. They're going to round out their saves, though. Luna Snow saved for them as well, so Fate of Both Worlds available for both sides, and then does look like the Thunderbolt's going to end with that Rocket Raccoon ban. So these are Ignite-style bans, meaning those bans only apply to the enemy team, and the saves apply to yourselves. So huge there for CPP Galactic to get that one-sided Strange, but overall, mostly straightforward stuff here in this first ban phase, and I think that's what you see a lot in these multi-map series for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Very interesting comps coming through, at least from my perspective. We see the Venom very powerful right now, especially with that Jeff team up, Bucky, Star-Lord, Emma. But I'm seeing on the side of Galactic that Apollo is going to be on the Daredevil. So you're going to be able to finally see your boy getting some play here. I'm pretty excited to see how he plays out right now against this comp especially. It looks like the Moon Knight's also going to be applied by the Broncos. So I'm interested to see what they want to do with that. Also Mantis, which is a character that I don't really see that often. Most of the time the strategists that I do see are like a Luna with an Invisible Woman, but I guess with the Invisible Woman band, you opt for that Mantis in return. And Bronco is actually going to be running a triple support here, so I'm pretty interested to see how that differs from the Thunderbolts.
4, 3, 2,
Yeah, definitely interesting to opt for it on the attack here on Spider Islands, of course. It does look like the Thunderbolt's not going to opt for that triple Vanguard, triple support. Definitely fall out of favor a little bit here, but we're going to kick things off here. CPD Galactic on the attack here, and Apollo, last minute swap off of that Daredevil onto the Hawkeye here. Have seen him use to dig away out of some of those spawn hold situations, a little bit his ult especially. A big freeze coming in from the Thunderbolts to start things off here. Even Snowy there on their side. Hits the Luna stun, and that is going to be a follow-up there. They're going to get 2K, 3Ks there to start things off against CPP Galactic, and Ananobi there on that Winter Soldier finds a double KO to kick things off, so that is a strong start for the defense here. Thunderbolts proving me wrong, maybe making me regret the prediction a little bit, but not a bad opening from them at all. So they are definitely on the offense here, even though they are on the defensive side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I gotta say, we gotta look at the Winter Soldier here from the side of Thunderbolts. Already has this Kraken impact available if you want to use it, and no supportal from the side of the Broncos. So if he pops it early, there's not gonna be any response available from the side of the Broncos. He might go in with it right now. Yep, looks like it's gonna be popped. You're gonna be able to find the first one onto the Warlock, find the second one onto the Luna, and people are just calling for the impact of 4K for the Winter Soldier, 5K for the Winter Soldier. Oh, beautiful stuff from the side of the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I mean, exactly what you want to see out of the Kraken impact. Finally taken down by SPX on the Moon Knight there, but, the job already done. Kraken impact already offline, and 5 KOs picked up out of it. Not bad at all there. So, CPP just looking for a foothold here to get something going. Not quite halfway to that first checkpoint yet. About 2:15 still left on the clock here. They're changing things up here. Apollo going back to the Daredevil. We've seen he has some serious potential in the right hands, but he can be pretty difficult to use there. So, looking to get into that strategist backline for the Thunderbolts here and make something happen. Jadboy on the Jeff, though. Jeff ult online does find 2. That's going to be a 2K, and it's 2 strategists for Galactic. So they are going to have a step back here. Stereo as well on the side of the Thunderbolts, finding one, and Mikey all taking down yet another one. It's a 2K for the Emma Frost here, and yet again another full reset onto CPP Galactic. So Thunderbolts staying aggressive here on defense, holding him to that with just a minute 30 left to go. Galactic gonna have to find an answer here to break through.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you need to win this fight, I believe, if you are the side of Galactic. A lot of ults are available for the side of the Thunderbolts that you want to kind of bait out here or win through the fight with your own ult. You don't have as many Waves are going to swap over to the Cloak and Dagger. Armed and Dangerous going to come through. The Winter Soldier coming in through yet again. Not going to be able to find anything, but the rest of the Broncos are able to get these picks. And it looks like that Winter Soldier ult wasn't able to connect as much as it did the first time. Moon Knight ult pops here. I don't know if that was necessary. I think a lot of the players of the Thunderbolts were dead anyways, but maybe they were just using that to get some space. And it looks like Broncos are finally going to be able to get some pressure and some forward progress going here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, winning the fight under the ult economy disadvantage. Thunderbolts didn't activate any, and they find the Star-Lord as well. No Galactic Legend in this fight here, as Galactic threatening this first checkpoint here. And that 2:30 time refresh, that's going to force out some ults for the Thunderbolts here. Dance floor on the floor, and the tanks are also ulting here to try and get something going here to stop Galactic before they get this refresh. Iron Agamotto comes through huge here, finds the Luna, finds the Venom there, and they'll clean it up there. CPP Galactic on the attack now, finally. Overhead Galactic Legend from Mikey, and on the ground, it's a shark, a land shark. Jeff does look like he finds one there, does find the Luna. Pretty good target if you're going to get one out of that ultimate, but just not as much value. Good enough, though. Nice to take a strategist out. It's going to be a trade, though. Mikey down, picked off yet again here, as we're looking at the end of this fight. OT in effect now. CPP Galactic so low, and they are falling one by one there. Overhead SPX lets the Fist of Khonshu go. Overtime ticking away here. Galactic trying to stay in the fight, but Doctor Strange offline. No portal. I don't know how they're going to keep this going.
It's so close. It's so back and forth. We have members from both sides going so low. Ults are being popped every which way. The Winter Soldier ult, again, not going to be able to find anything. And this Moon Knight is going absolutely crazy. It's pretty much a 4K, I think, off of the ult plus those 2 kills. And it looks like maybe we see the Broncos finally managing to get a push going. It looks like the portal's going to be coming back through just to get more bodies onto the point. And after a really drawn out, really long fight, CPPG are finally going to be able to get that first checkpoint. Oh, interesting. Wait, an interesting swap. We see that the Winter Soldier going to swap to Captain America, so wanting to stay within that World War II theme potentially. Oh, okay, all right, just kidding. I'm going back to the Winter Soldier, so, you know, I can eat my words real quick.
Yeah, interesting. They were kind of teasing the triple Vanguard, triple strategist, but after checkpoint 1, not sure that I've seen that before. But yeah, both teams kind of staggered there, kind of a mess on that last fight, but both of them getting staggered out. And CPP, you know, they have a little bit of an advantage right there, a little closer to the payload, so they're able to just walk it back and get back in the fight there. And they're on a roll now. 1:45 on the clock, over halfway to the second checkpoint, and SPX on that Moon Knight cleaning house here will take down Ananobi as well. Winter Soldier back to the spot. An absolute demon there on Mark Spector, just keeping the team in the fight here. And now it's like a completely different CPP Galactic from that first checkpoint. 1:30 left to go, and they are at the castle front gates here.
Yeah, after a really slow first point, it looks like the second point is going a lot more in their favor thanks to the efforts of SPX. Absolutely dominant on this Moon Knight, but it looks like the Emma Frost ult is going to come out here. Going to have the Mantis ult used in return. The Jeff ult pop, Doctor Strange ult pop. Ults are flying every which way. I don't know how much value is going to be happening. A stack coming through. Looks like it looks like Galactic is going to have to stop for right now. Not going to be able to keep this pressure going, but they got a lot of space and a lot of momentum in their favor. Just, you know, oh, look at that devious stagger here onto the DPS of Galactic. I mean, with those kills, you have to wait for your DPS to respawn. Gonna be a little bit behind. But 35 seconds left. You have 4 ults available for the side of Galactic, and only 3 ults available from the side of Broncos. No support ult. So you're gonna have to be careful with how you use these ults, especially. Okay, going in with the Cloak and Dagger ult. So it looks like gonna be a Moon Knight ult also in return. So much damage getting pumped out by SPX. Gets a kill onto the Emma Frost. However, the Star-Lord ult is going to be used, not going to be able to find that much value. The Cloak and Dagger ult is also going to be able to kill the Venom, who had that ultimate available. Apollo's going to go down here. Kraken is being used, but going to be taken out by the Strange. And it looks like Broncos are going to walk away with this as long as, you know, they can make sure to get these final kills. Venom ult pops, but I don't think it matters all too much.
Yeah, no, the overtime flurry from Galactic continues here. 2 meters to go. Overtime almost full here. Now just 1 meter as they are looking to clean up here and get this last time refresher. 1:30 on the line here. Apollo finding a pick onto Adam. He takes down the Captain America here. Thunderbolts trying to stay flexible with it. They're being versatile, making some swaps here and there. Mikey, going off of the rocket now onto the storm here, just to try and get something going here. But now CPP Galactic, they've got that momentum built up, and they are on the move here. So yeah, they definitely walked into that one with a bit of an advantage. And like you said, Ninja, no support all for the Thunderbolts, not a lot of sustain coming from the heroes themselves. So not a lot of ways for them to stay in the fight when they're staring down all those ultimates. So 60 seconds left to go here, looking to push up to the top of this castle.
SPX is getting so many kills onto these because Emma's going to push up, but it's not going to have that much value. The Luna Snow ult is popped. Broncos are the Galactic are able to get so much value off of these pushes, but you're going to have to back up here, especially with the Luna ult being popped. The Gru swap, interesting, coming through for Primus, going to try to have these walls available to cut off more people. But this Moon Knight is doing so much damage, and Apollo is able to get the kill onto the Luna. I was going to talk about earlier how that Moon Knight ult was kind of a waste, but honestly, it's Moon Knight. You get those ults so fast and so frequently that it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. And it looks like the Hawkeye ult is going to be popped here. Going to be trying to get some kind of pressure going, but too much sustainability on the side of Thunderbolts. Not going to be taken out just yet. Moon Knight ult comes through. Let's see if he's able to find anything. Doesn't look like it, and it looks like another ult stump fight going to be coming out here for both sides.
Yeah, looking rough for the Thunderbolts here. They've got no support all. They don't have Fate of Both Worlds online here. CPP Galactic is out of resources, though, and off the left there goes Apollo and Flora from the side of Galactic there. Most of the team wiped out, not at a great time at all here, as OT in effect now once again. CPP Galactic really enjoying fighting under OT this map here, but maybe not time for a miracle return to point here. OT takes down, and that is the end of the run, but, a lot more progress than you may have thought off of the rip there. So CPP Galactic putting together a pretty decent offensive run considering how much time it really took to get going.
You'll need a top-notch team to
Yeah,
win this.
I think honestly the third point was pretty much guaranteed to not happen from the side of Galactic, considering how long they spent on that first point. The first point is a pretty defender-sided, point. So I wasn't too surprised with how long it was held. It was unfortunate that they're not able to get the full cap here, but SPX putting up a lot of work on this Moon Knight here. It looks like Mikey's going to want to mirror it with their own Moon Knight. Interesting to see that come through. Going to try to see if they can do the same stuff that they were doing on the side of Galactic. I don't know if I love it with your comp compared to the other comp, because you have the Strange and you have interesting.
30 seconds before you
Did
attack. Get ready.
Did they always only have one tank, the side of Galactic?
I think they were running two last time.
I believe I remember
yeah.
two. I believe they were running two, so a little interesting that we're only going to have the Doctor Strange as the tank here. A lot of pressure going to be onto that shield, so we're going to have to see how that works out in the side of Galactic for this defense. They're going to have to, mirror the success that the Thunderbolts did on their defense.
Yeah, I think it's a big risk for CPP Galactic. They're on defense now. It's a long walk back on Convoy if you get wiped out here on point number one. And with only one Vanguard, they are relying on the triple strat strategy here. Let's see how it plays out for them. Doors open here. Thunderbolts on the payload and getting things moving here to get us started here for the second half of Spider Island. It's going to be some neutral game here at first, but it is going to be first blood drawn by Thunderbolts yet again. Droopy Dupe there goes down on the Mantis, and Apollo will follow up to the grave there. Back to the spawn room as well. CPP Galactic taking it all the way back to the start here. The Thunderbolts on the move here right off the bat. No ultimates necessary. Left clicks only to get things going. Going to be a full reset for Galactic. And, there's a couple of interesting things happening here. SPX on the Moon Knight again. I feel like a character you don't see a lot of on defense, and a character that you don't see a lot of outside of spawn hold breaks at the start. So definitely a very competent player that I can see why he's playing Moon Knight even this far into the match.
Yeah, as a Moon Knight fan myself, he is one of my favorite Marvel characters. It is so awesome to see him finally become so dominant right now. SPX is putting on an absolute masterclass on the Moon Knight character. Shout out to Mark Spector, Jake Lockley, and Steven Grant, all personalities. Looks like, Broncos are going to come back and pop through their portal and get this defense hold to still happen. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. Thunderbolts have a lot of ults available, however, and it looks like Galactic is rolling a little bit behind in terms of ult charge. They're already 77 to that strange ult. Meanwhile, you know, Thunderbolts have all of these ults available: the Groot ult, the Moon Knight ult. But Moon Knight ults are, you know, a dime a dozen. So we'll have to see where they want to spot these. Groot ult's going to come through here along with the Moon Knight ult. It's going to be a nice combination, but they're going to be able to stay alive for right now. The Bucky ult's going to come through, not going to be able to find anything, and it looks like the Jeff ult's also going to not be able to find two. Oh, just kidding! I was kidding! He finds two with the E, manages to get both supports there, and it looks like Thunderbolts 3K from the Jeff. Now supports available from the side of the Broncos. The Moon Knight ult is going to be utilized, but not going to be able to find anything, and it looks like Thunderbolts are going to finally get this through the first objective, because, you know, Broncos already used their portal to hold the first time, so I don't think it's back online yet.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to wait a little bit more for that here. Time refresh in, back up to 4 minutes. And so far, the story of the match for the Thunderbolts has really been this combination of Jadboy on the Jeff and now Mikey on the Moon Knight there. Did miss with the Moon Knight ult, but picked up a 3K on his own there, so no Khonshu necessary. It is all Moon Knight here now as Ananobi will find SPX and send their Moon Knight back to the grave here. So CPP Galactic have a little bit of an advantage here. They've got the ult economy game on lock here. Corda's going to go ahead and let that dance floor go, and Mikey goes down. There you go, the Kraken Impact online, armed and dangerous here. At least finding one. Looking for the reset. There's the 2K to keep things going, and in the background there, the rest of Galactic trying to survive this onslaught from the Emma Frost. Serio there on the Thunderbolt, picking up 1 or 2 KOs for themselves as well. So not as much value as maybe they were looking for out of that Kraken Impact here, as the Thunderbolts back in control of the payload and on the move about halfway to checkpoint number 2, and they've still got 3 minutes on the clock, so definitely faster pace than CPP was last time. But wow, SPX comes back with a vengeance!
Oh, the Moon Knight on a flank here with the ultimate ability. So inspirational. Going to be taken out, but manages to get 2 before they go. The Winter Soldier ult is not going to be able to find anything from the side of the Thunderbolts here. And, you know, honestly, my prediction was for the Thunderbolts, but honestly, I think I'm rooting for Galactic at this point because of how dominant SPX is looking on this Moon Knight. He deserves the win by himself with how inspirational he's making these plays, going for these flank plays, getting these onks down, getting these early picks. It's looking like it's pretty dire, though. Mikey is going to be able to get the return kill onto 2 more. And even though Apollo is able to get the Jeff, it's not looking like much holding is happening. I'm a little interested. Oh my god, SPX with another kill. He's just able to find these kills so frequently. It looks like the Groot's going to be playing a little bit of Fortnite, so the wrong game, but still going to be trying to get to this high ground against this Moon Knight here. It looks like the rest of Galactic is going to be filing back in. This strange ult is going to try to be massive here. It's going to connect on both supports here. The Jeff goes down, the Luna goes down, and it looks like Galactic is able to hold for right now.
Yeah, it's a risky play here. Just under 2 meters to go. They are in control of the payload, though. They've got a couple ultimates here, so they do hold a lot of the cards, and they'll find plenty of KOs. 3 members of CPP taking down the Thunderbolts here. That's going to be a bit of a reset, and now pushing them back past that 5-meter mark. So slowing things down for the Thunderbolts here. CPP finding some spots of light here. You know, they're able to get a couple team fight wins, not chaining together as strongly as you think you'd like, but man, they are on the move here. Thunderbolts are in this fight as well. I mean, just a team fight win is all they really need to get another time refresh and get on to this final checkpoint here. 4 ultimates ready to go for the Thunderbolts, but 1 taken out the equation here. SPX finds Mikey yet again. Those 2 have been dueling back and forth this entire half of Spider Islands, but now ult economy advantage definitely in the Thunderbolts corner for now here. Mantis all coming out from Droopy there. Apollo and Corda also have ults ready to go, but gonna hold off on that. Dance floor down for the Thunderbolts. Fate of both worlds, but no, taken down by the Moon Knight ult there. 80 back to the spawn room there as CPP Galactic in control of this fight as well now. Gonna take the Thunderbolts down to potentially last fight territory here, while Jadboy does finally stop the demon that is SPX there with the
He doesn't even kill him.
He does make the escape. Zacco on that Doctor Strange, man. What an insane fight there for Galactic.
Wow, I mean, SPX getting a really good fix here. I was a little nervous going into that fight because they had so many ults as the advantage here. But Thunderbolts popped pretty much all their ults. They only have 2 ults available for them. Emma ult's going to be popped out first, but it gets frozen, so it gets canceled. That means only the Winter Soldier ult is going to be available for the side of the Thunderbolts. You have to get something done with it. SPX taken so incredibly low, going to be taken out by Primus. The Eye of Agamotto is going to be used. This Kraken Impact has a lot of potential. Gets one, not able to find the second one. Yeah, just kidding, it finds the second one, connects onto the screen, gets a 3K. Looking for the fourth, not going to be able to connect onto any fourth player. But I think this might be enough for the Thunderbolts to finally get this checkpoint in overtime. Similar situation to what we saw Galactic happening last round.
Yeah, Quasar dropping the Eternal Bond on the ground there too, the Cloak and Dagger ult, but just too little too late for Galactic to stay in the fight. Though, now we are on equal footing. CPP Galactic entered this point of the map with 1 minute and 30 seconds off that time refresh, so now dead heat between these two teams. The difference here, can CPP Galactic stop them short of that third and final checkpoint here that they're looking to clear this map out? Thunderbolts, though, going to have a huge advantage here. 4 ults online ready to go, and one strategist on the side of CPP. There comes the Psionic Seduction from Sirio now on the side of Thunderbolts. Might be dropping the Hand of Khonshu as well, but trouble here for the Thunderbolts as Droopy and SPX will find picks of their own, and that Mantis ult coming out to get them some sustain, buy some time to build up even more ults here. Thunderbolts have not emptied the coffers yet, though. They've got a Jeff ult, they've got a Groot ult, and when Edie is back online, they will have a fate of both worlds here. So big opportunity for the Thunderbolts to come back, but there's 30 seconds left on the clock. There's one team fight truly left for these two teams here. The question is, can CPP hold it? And right now the answer is not quite.
Very interesting ults coming through. Apollo's gonna pop his Armed and Dangerous. Oh my god, a newbie with a 3K. You know, I was gonna talk about how well the Khonshu has been eating tonight with both Moon Knights being able to pop off right now. But honestly, this Winter Soldier is having so much impact on the side of the Thunderbolts, especially a lot of... Okay, here's the problem though. You used a lot of ults on the side of Thunderbolts. You're going to be into this with pretty much nothing available. 3 ults on the side of Galactic. You're going to have to get some value. However, 2 kills immediately is going to be pretty devastating. You get the kill. Oh my god, Zacho the Duck with a big 2K onto the backline. It's just this Groot left alive, going to be taken out. All there is left is the Emma Frost. He's the only remaining player. Zacho with a 4K. Yes, the Winter Soldier gets him down, but SPX going to be able to finish what he started here. I don't know if any touches are going to be coming through, and it looks like Galactic is going to take this first map.
Wow, Zacho there, insane Eye of Agamotto, and then the Doctor Strange E to just dump even more damage, picking up the quad KO to get CPP Galactic the win here. I would almost argue a comeback win. They started off, it was rough on offense there, especially that first checkpoint, but they have won. Spider Islands belongs to them, and look at these stat lines. 60 elims for SPX, 41 of those being final hits. Ananobi on the side of the Thunderbolts, 50 elims, a penta KO, and then 36 final hits as well. So you can just tell how much these DPSs were at each other's throats here. But it is going to be SPX's Moon Knight on the side of CPP Galactic that comes out on top in the end. And again, I don't want to overlook this, man. Zacho in that last fight under overtime, perfect execution, perfect timing there. Dropped the Eye of Agamotto, found the targets, took out the rest of the team, and that was truly the end of it. So, a little bit of a rocky start, but, maybe a little bit of a button check there on the start of the map or a warm-up for CPP Galactic. But either way, they go up 1-0 here. 1 map win away from their first match win here in the Collegiate Rivals Series.
Wow. I mean,
and I'm back.
Welcome back. I mean, listen, as a Moon Knight fan, I have this. Oh, I got this Lego figure of Moon Knight, and oh wait, you can't see it. There he is. As a Moon Knight fan, SPX is making a tear come to my eye with how much impact he's able to have on that map. Really strong stuff from him. I'm really excited to see this next map unfold. It was really back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a banger of a matchup. It really just felt like a duel, no pun intended, between SPX and a newbie there. Absolutely dominant performances. This flank kills on the Moon Knight from SPX, just absolutely giving their team room to breathe. I was thinking back to that point 2 on the defense when they were trying to hold and they were not quite winning the fight, and then suddenly it was like 1 second, it was a 5v5 or a 65, and suddenly the entirety of the back line was dead. the entirety of the backline was dead because they got a triple from SPX. Absolutely insane, but I knew it would be also very soon afterwards, immediately equalized, just hunting them down. Bucky, I've been saying it time and time again. The pros are starting to catch on. Bucky's incredibly powerful. I agree. We're going to be looking back in a couple of years going, why was not every single person running the Bucky? But absolutely incredible performance from both teams, but CPP Galactic taking the lead. Map is going to be decided here in the next couple of seconds, but Diatonic, I guess I'll pass to you here. What are we expecting to see? Obviously, map is still up in the air. Do you think maybe we'll get something other than Convoy? I'm hoping for it. But do you think there's at least any other changes? Do you think we're going to see like a Moon Knight ban? What are we expecting as we go into game number 2 in alterations here?
Yeah, I mean, they really have kind of played their hand here a little bit. Excellent work by SPX on that Moon Knight. But now the question, and like you were alluding to, are we going to get a Moon Knight ban? I think that I won't be too surprised to see it, right? I mean, it wasn't really a situational kind of thing. SPX was just on Moon Knight from the very start. So, when you pick up 60 elims and like 40 final hits or something, usually that's a giant red flag, flashing neon sign of, hey, ban me in the next draft phase. So I won't be too surprised. I wouldn't say that there's anything that stands out to me as like, this is what Thunderbolts is doing wrong. Like, they're just getting on the losing side of very critical key fights that allow CPP to build some momentum, enough to keep them going until they drop a team fight too. So, it's a very high DPS game between these two. Some interesting comp choices. I think, I'm not sure if they're going to look to standardize and go for more 2-2-2 for both of these teams. But I mean, huge bombs dropped by those DPS lines for sure.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say, I think one part of the Thunderbolts is, you were saying, it's not like they're doing anything wrong. Honestly, what they're doing wrong is their ultimate usage is kind of, I'm gonna say it pretty bluntly here, pretty miserable. I mean, you go into that last fight overtime, 0 ults to 3. I mean, you have literally 0 ults in this game. You have no chance of winning this last fight, even though they got 2 picks at the very beginning. But, these ultimates are so critical to winning these fights, especially support ultimates, able to keep so many people alive and sustained. So I think Thunderbolts needs to keep, their ult usage in check. I know that there were a couple of iffy ults from the side of the Galactic team, but I don't know. Oh my gosh, I just completely cut off Soren from giving us our outro to the map. I feel so bad. I'm so sorry, Soren.
Hey, we're moving quick today. I mean, we had
gosh.
some, last minute match swaps and things. So, it is what it is, man. Well, I'll sacrifice my time to talk in the next one. We'll get Soren in there for sure. But hey, no Convoy this time. It is going to be Hall of Djalia for some convergence action. So we are back here once again, draft phase for map number 2, CPP Galactic, on the cusp of getting their first win here in the fall split. They're going to open up right again with the same exact thing as last time. The Doctor Strange, one-sided Doctor Strange for CPP. Thunderbolts, though, they're going to ban the Mantis and grid a one-sided Hela for themselves. So expect some hell to be unleashed here on map number 2. But yeah, that's kind of the question is, do we go after SPX's Moon Knight here?
I mean, if we're looking at what they're hovering right now, it looks like we have 4 Jeff plays on the side of Galactic. No, I'm just kidding. I think honestly you have to ban this. I think the Moon Knight has to be banned. He put up 60 elims, 41 final blows. You have to stop that. You have to suppress that, especially if you're going to play the same composition that you were playing last time with the Strange. With the Bucky ban coming through. So they're going to be looking at the Bucky that was there last time, but the Mag ban coming through. So I don't think Thunderbolts are going to ban it. I don't think the Moon Knight's going to be banned, which I think is a little unfortunate. Going to be doing that same thing that they were doing last time, where they ban somebody and then protect it on their own side. That way they have that advantage of that character. So Mag going to be banned and protected from the side of Thunderbolts along with that Hela. Strange is going to be getting the same treatment on the side of Galactic, and the Moon Knight Protect ban coming through at the last second for Galactic here. So they're not going to be able to ban it out. We will be seeing the Moon Knight being played, hopefully. And it looks like Luna is going to be the final ban from the side of the Thunderbolts. So having that Luna available is pretty powerful as long as you're able to utilize your ultimate correctly. Is that a thing?
Yeah. It might be.
Is that a thing?
Ananobi's was floating between Duelist and Vanguard, right? Maybe a little bit of flex. You know, he played some Winter Soldier, played some Captain America. Might get a little bit of clobbering time here. But, you know, I feel like this draft phase, CPP Galactic showing some smart stuff here. You know, Thunderbolts went for the one-sided Hella save. They banned the Namor in response. They don't want the Hella Namor team up because hella damage. I mean, it's very, very powerful. You know, so not something you want to deal with. I like that. Of course, saving the Moon Knight at the last second to stop maybe just a cheeky last ban from the Thunderbolts here. But yeah, it does look like Ananobi's going to come out on the thing here. So yeah, one map down, a CVB Galactic match point here. You know, sometimes you got to bring out something out of left field to try and turn the tide.
Wow, I don't think I've actually ever seen a thing being played at this level. That I just feel like the Emma is so strong. Maybe it's the map itself that's, you know, maybe the thing has an advantage on this map or something that I don't know about. But all I know is that Nancy Street is eating quite well right now. We're going to be getting some clobbering times in. Interesting comp from the side of Galactic. Going to be having that Scarlet Witch Strange team up. So we didn't see that last time, but we are going to be seeing it this time. The Star-Lord from the side of the Thunderbolt's going to be going right on back to that. I'm very curious to see what this thing does and how they want to play with it.
Yeah, really interesting stuff from CPP Galactic. First blood, though, for Mikey there on that Hella right away, taking down SPX's Moon Knight out the gate here. But yeah, very, very risky to just run that one Vanguard comp there with the 3 strategists. But, you know, they're going to look to keep themselves alive. Corda is on that Adam Warlock for the extra sustain to try and make up for missing 1 Vanguard. And yeah, I have seen something in some competitive matches. I don't know if I have ever seen Scarlet Witch come out in comp, so I'm very curious to see where she kind of falls in line with the rest of the comp for CPP Galactic here. Of course, they do have that team up with Doctor Strange, so gonna get some extra damage output there. But you know, as far as opening salvos go here, CPP is on. I believe they're on the attack here first, and man, they are just trying to get something going here, but they have not made it to the capture point yet.
Okay, I'm understanding what they're doing now. They're giving the bubble to the thing. He's going to go in, so aggressive in with this bubble, gets a lot of damage in with these right clicks, and try to look for some picks before running on out. Not going to be able to find anything yet. However, has the clobbering time available. Amplifier is going to be used, and Zacho is going to be able to get the first pick. Cloak and Dagger ult used in return by the Thunderbolts. Scarlet Witch ult is going to be popped here. Maybe it gets something. It'd be kind of huge if it does. It doesn't find anything just yet. You were looking to get that Cloak and Dagger ult off of the ground. The clobbering time was used, but nothing was going to be found. SPX going to pop the Moon Knight ult again. No ults was found yet. Ults are going back and forth. The Luna ult gets popped next. Maybe we see Zacho pop his ult. Mag ult gets 2! A huge Mag ult. Hella ult gets popped as well. So it looks like the Thunderbolts are finally going to be able to get this fight win. Oh my god, the Warlock ult is massive, but resurrects literally every single person. Scarlet ult pops in return of that. Eye of Agamotto is used in return. There's so many ults. Zacho was able to find 1 before going down to Primus. Corda is able to find the Hella. And it looks like Thunderbolts is going to be winning this out. It's looking very scrappy, but SPX gets a kill onto the Luna here. Gonna be taken out. They're on this high ground here. Both supports are still alive from the side of Thunderbolts. SPX gets another kill, and this thing goes down. And it was such a back and forth, scrappy ult dump of a fight, but they're able to do it and get some points on the percentage on the points. Oh my gosh, I feel like I got a rush.
Yeah, it really felt like they were both trying to think one step ahead of each other. Like, Mikey activated the Hella ult, got some KOs off that. Corda popped to the Karmic Revival. Serio said, I was ready for it, I've got Galactic Legend. And then CPP just played on through, and here we are. So both of them trying to stay a step ahead of each other here. They're speaking each other's language, and that creates a very interesting matchup between these two teams. But it will be CPP Galactic claiming that first checkpoint here, back up to just about 340 when they first cleared it here. But it took a lot of resources. They had to pop the Moon Knight ult. They had to go through a lot. You know, they used the Karmic Revival, so Adam going to be offline for a little while here. Meanwhile, Ananobi on that clobbering time there finds 3, and the follow-up from the Thunderbolts is there. They will get some KOs there. Mikey with a 2K, and Serio will clean up 1 as well. That will pop the Rocket Beacon for now, so BRB going to be offline for a little bit here. But, you know, now we're back to this game of building ultimates, right? You know, right now, CPP, they've got just the Cloak and Dagger ult. They'll have a couple more online waiting in the wings, but so do the Thunderbolts here. So it is a very, very close game between these two teams. 2:40 on the clock, and Galactic just about 1/4 of the way to checkpoint number 2.
Oh, this is bad. Galactic is going to be on this off angle. Only 3 of them are going to be there. Zach is able to get the kill onto the Star-Lord, but it was kind of a split there from the side of Galactic. I think both of the supports, besides the Warlock, were with the Star-Lord, so they're able to get that Cloak and Dagger on the way out of that exchange. Oh god. Okay, SBX just gets a kill and Apollo gets another one, and no supports are now available for the side of Thunderbolts. I blinked and both supports are dead from the side of Thunderbolts. Zach was able to get the kill onto the Hela here, and it looks like that might just be the point right then and there. They have these ultimate abilities, but are they going to be able to get... No, they'll be able to get back in time, I think.
Yeah, I do think they have the bodies to at least hold here, but it is going to be about one fight all CPP is going to need to clear to take this point here. And they might be able to do it here. It's going to be 5 ults versus 4. Thunderbolts kick it off here, though. Serio over in Galactic Legend on the ground. Eevee with the dance floor once again. Not enough to save Jad Boy, though. Primus goes overhead for a Meteor Imp. Crashes down. Does find Corda, so Adam Warlock holding on to his ult, taken out of the fight. Apollo overhead. Galactic Legend coming in clutch here. Taking down most of the Thunderbolts. A 3K at least for him, and looking for more. Spinning to win there to try and clear the last couple members of the Thunderbolts before they can rally and get back onto the point. 1:15 to go here, and just about 10 or so meters away for Galactic to claim checkpoint number 2. SPX grabbing a couple more Moon Knight KOs as if he didn't have enough from map number 1 already, and Quasar will find one too on the Cloak and Dagger there, swapping over to Cloak, and SPX closing it out with one more KO here. Checkpoint number 2 cleared. 2:30 on the clock for CPP to clear Hall of Djalia.
You know, I don't think SPX is having as much impact as he did have on the last fight, or on the last map, excuse me. However, is able to get that opening kill onto Jadboy, who had the Cloak and Dagger ult available to them, so allowing them to have that ult advantage going in, because not having both support ults available is pretty crucial to winning that fight. This thing is going to be so aggressive in there. I don't know if you're going to be able to live that. Mikey's going to pop the Hela ult, going to not be able to find anything. SPX goes down, but the BRB beacon is going to be popped. Zaka goes down next, and it looks like they're wrong. Oh, SPX dies yet again. All right, we're padding his death stats, I guess. They're looking at the alpha threat like, all right, we need to take care of you. Florida is going to be accepting their fate, taken out, and maybe Quasar gets out? Maybe? It looks like, yeah, they're going to be able to stay alive for right now. Oh, but the rocket goes down. That's pretty bad. I mean, you're getting these late kills. That's pretty bad. Oh, but they're able to get the kill onto the Star-Lord there. Mikey's able to get the kill onto Quasar. No supports on the side of... I don't know. You have to. I think you just have to back up here. I think if you're the side of Galactic, you cannot be taking any more really late deaths or anything.
Yeah, and I mean, if they take a second to regroup, then they can also have an Eternal Bond there. Quasar's almost got the ult ready to go, and then it'll be a 4v1 ult fight here. You know, obviously running out of time here, about 60 seconds left to go for Galactic to keep this thing on the move, and at this point, you know, you have to wager, are they going to try to clear the map, or is it just about trying to clear as much distance as possible? CPP Galactic go, 5 ults ready to go. SPX is going to let it go first here. Moon haunting the Thunderbolts overhead. That's a huge stun though on the clobbering time. Obi onto the CPP Galactic there, taking a few, but no KOs off that. Just not enough value cashed in from that ultimate. Thunderbolts running out of resources here and running out of bodies too. SPX and Apollo on cleanup duty and finishing off the side of the Thunderbolts here. That is going to be a wide open path forward, and CPP Galactic minimizing casualties and still holding on to 2 pretty game changer ultimates. They're going to have that Eye of Agamotto, and they'll have the Karmic Revival ready to go. The Thunderbolts, though, they've got some tools in their tool belt still left as well. Serio's got a Galactic Legend ready to go, and Jadboy also has an Eternal Bond ready to rock here. But yeah, they are running out of time. 5 seconds left to go. One misstep will send CPP over the ledge here and swap us sides.
All right, looks like the Star-Lord is going to be popped here. Going to be able to find that first kill onto the rocket, but being traded out by SPX. Not going to be able to find any more. Oh, gets another kill onto the Star-Lord. That's actually quite a large pick. However, he's going to be taken so incredibly low. Going to be able to survive right now. SPX goes down here, and it looks like even though Galactic... Oh, wait, the ult comes through, and it's quite massive, actually. The Eye of Agamotto is going to come through. So is the Star-Lord ult. Going to be taking out the enemy Star-Lord. Gonna be looking to try to get another kill. Gets the Luna Snow. That's actually a huge pick here. And it's looking so back and forth. But that resurrection from the Adam Warlock is able to get so much value. Clobber time is going to be absolutely massive, though. Going to connect on the pretty much 4 people. And the follow-up is good. Going to be able to look at the rest of Galactic. 2 people go down already. It's so back and forth. This thing is getting so many punches in. Gonna get another one onto the Warlock at the Amplifier top, but it's gonna be immediately destroyed. And the rocket is frozen to the ground. Gonna be taken out by this thing, getting more and more value. SPX gets punched yet again. A newbie is going absolutely crazy on the thing, getting so much value. And that's going to be the hold right then and there. Not going to be able to finish the map, but this is how Galactic won their last map. So maybe they're hoping for a repeat.
Time to switch things up.
Yeah, very, very true. Similar notes. Huge stop for the Thunderbolts here, though. They are able to at least leave the door open. They will not have to go 2 extra rounds if they can clear the distance that Galactic managed to push that payload on the first half. So, you know, you can't let yourself go down 1 map and then also have to clear and go to extra rounds on Convergence. So, you know, big stuff from the defense there at the very end. They put it together, found those picks at the last minute when overtime went into effect, and that let them at least finish this thing off without letting Galactic clear the map. So yet again, stopped them. But like you said, Ninja, you know, that did not stop CPP Galactic from taking map number 1. So job is far from done here as we swap sides. Thunderbolt's going to be on the attack now, and CPP Galactic over to defense. But it looks like Galactic mostly, they're going to go with the if it ain't broken, don't fix it comp. And Thunderbolt's not changing too much either. So we're going to kind of go back into this fight very similarly to how it was on the first half of Hall of Jalia.
Well, actually, the Thunderbolts are going to have Mikey on the Rocket Raccoon. He was on a DPS before, but now they just have the Star-Lord available for them. They weren't running triple support last round, I don't believe, so this is going to be a little bit of a change here, trying to see if they can get the same success that Galactic is. Also, we're going to see Jade Boy off the Cloak and Dagger going onto the Mantis here, so trying to get some value maybe from the amplifying damage section of things. SPX trying to get a kill on the flank right out of spawn. It gets a lot of damage onto the Luna, but not able to find the kill. Already 23% ult charge. I wonder if he'll be able to get out. It looks like he will be able to, but I think it's pretty funny that was almost a thing that happened.
Yeah, and Moon Knight, as per usual, off to the races with the alt charge game. SPX just racking up the percentage there, so they'll have that one ready to go before too long. Maybe a game changer here to get things started as we swap sides, though. Thunderbolts, as we said, back on the attack here this time. First blood drawn there onto the Mantis. Jad Boy going to use that BRB beacon to get right back into the fight for now, but at least CBB have cleared through that, and it counts here. Zacho and SPX picking up some more picks for themselves here to start things off on defense. Big plays to open things up, and you know, already disrupting that momentum and trying to set the tempo of the match here. Big clobber in time there, coming out from Ananobi, finds 2 members of CPP. They do manage to follow up, take out Zacho. That's going to be SPX on the Moon Knight ult here, finds a pick for himself without the ult there too, finishes him off, left clicks there, chasing him down and off the point here. 2:45 on the clock, still left to go here, but Thunderbolts so far, no progress made just yet. They are fighting on the point though, contending it, but they keep losing members here, and there is just a little bit of a walk for offense, so it takes a little bit of time for them to get back in there and keep things going. But a minute 30 off the clock already for the Thunderbolts, and so far it is CPP Galactic's game to win here.
In the span of me passing it over to you, SPX is able to build 2 ults and is 91 to his 3rd already. He's getting so much ult charge. It's so impressive to see. A newbie's gonna blow up thanks to SPX. SPX pops another ult, gonna be taken out from the Magneto ult, but gets Dad Boy on the way out. Droopy's able to get the res with the BRB beacon. Oh my gosh, so many ults are getting popped now. It's looking like an ult dump. Zacho's able to find a 2K with the ult that they had. Star-Lord not going to be able to find... I was able to find a kill on the Cordo here. A little bit of a miscommunication there, considering that the Cloak and Dagger ult was up. Cordo's able to get the res, however, onto themselves, thanks to Adam Warlock's passive. The Resurrection going to be used. A little interesting to see the Amplifier also being used. I think a little bit of over-ulting here from the side of Galactic. They popped the Amplifier and they popped the Resurrection for really no reason. I think there was only one person on the Thunderbolts left alive here.
Yeah, and now basically their entire backline's ult economy is reset because Quasar is also down in the 10s on the ult charge percentage game. So yeah, really just stack those two on top of each other. And I feel maybe a little bit early on the activation. Still a minute 15 left to go. I wouldn't say they were in dire enough straits, but now CPP Galactic back in the fight here. Thunderbolts mustered the offense once again. Eevee on the ground there. Beta Both Worlds coming down to try and commit the Thunderbolts to this fight, and commit they will. They find Zacho and SPX here to get the ball rolling. They finally manage a tick or two of progress. Go overhead, Apollo on the Galactic Legend, putting some damage down and trying to scramble the Thunderbolts here, but he is not able to put down the damage and does not have the health pool to contest this thing. He will go down, and that is a payload online and ready to move for the Thunderbolts here. Just about 3 minutes left on the clock to keep things going. So bit of a slower start for the Thunderbolts here, but they are in the fight for sure.
Yeah, absolutely here. A little bit of, I think it all stems away from the support of Galactic popping these ults for really no reason. Their ult economy is kind of in shambles right now. Zac and SPX are able to find 2 kills all just in the neutral fight, however. So it looks like they're going to be able to get a push going back. The problem last time with Thunderbolt's defense was that the second point was kind of just, it was just nothing. I think Galactic was able to push this pretty much all the way to the end with no contesting. But, Galactic is going to try not to do the exact same thing. Going to have a fight up here, take off a little bit more time from the clock. The Moon Knight ult connects a lot of damage onto the thing. Not going to be able to find anything with the Mag ult. The Star-Lord ult is going to be used, trying to break through this hold that is happening right now. But now here's your problem. Galactic are coming back with 3.5 ult. What does Thunderbolts have? They have the Amplifier, and they're close to the Mantis ult. You're gonna have to build this Mantis ult in time, or else I think this fight is gonna be another hold for Galactic.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. I think early aggression, once that fight kicks off, is going to be the game changer here. They do have the CYA beacon they can throw down. They can stack some support ults here, but Eye of Agamotto coming in clutch. Again, 3 stuns there. The CYA beacon coming down from Mikey for the Thunderbolts here, but Eevee's not able to survive that CPP onslaught here. Jadboy on the ground with the Mantis ult yet again here. Anunobi looking a little bit low. Gotta find that Mantis for the other recovery there. Droopy's going to let that CYA go, but a huge clobbering time there. 4 stuns on the CPP, but they don't have the bodies to follow up. Not as much value as they hoped for. Minus a 5 SPX though. That's going to pop another BRB beacon from the side of CPP. Cordon out, taken down as well. 1 by 1, CPP Galactic falling under the might of the Thunderbolts here. 1 minute and 5 seconds left to go, and the path forward is clear. They'll grab a time refresh for themselves. 2 minutes and 30 seconds for them to try and match CPP's push.
Yeah, really good ult usage there from the side of the Thunderbolts. That was a huge clobber. I was a little worried that they weren't going to be able to get any follow-up off of it, but they were definitely able to get it done in the end. 2 minutes and 13 seconds left. All they have to do is get to this objective right there. You see the blue line. Serio gets the kill onto Apollo. That's actually a pretty big kill, winning that Star-Lord fight. You have that ultimate available to you, and now Galactic doesn't have the same ultimate in terms of the Star-Lord. This thing is trying to take some damage. There's the Star-Lord ult, going to be coming out a little early, honestly. You're going to look to try to see if you can get a kill onto anybody, really, but the link is so large. You are finally... Oh my gosh, they're so incredibly low, but they're going to be able to keep each other up. Wow. Say what you will, strategists are definitely not broken at all. Mikey's able to get the kill onto SBX. Rupie's able to get the kill onto Serio, so it looks like it's a pretty back and forth. They're going to res up SBX. You're going to pop that reincarnation. You really don't want to pop a lot of ults if you are the side of Galactic, considering there's still 1.5 minutes left on the clock. The Moon Knight ult is going to be used, however, and so is the Strange ult. Not going to be finding a lot, however. The Luna Snow ult is popped. Clobbering Time is going to be used in return. Magneto ult is going to be popped in return. Quarter's going to go down here. Oh, it's a 2K with the Magneto ult. It's so huge. And it looks like Thunderbolts is going to be able to get this map win as long as they get this final bit of damage, the last kills, and there is going to be the map going in the way of Thunderbolts. We are going to a map 3.
Wow, yeah, absolute chaos there at the very end, and CPP trying to commit to that fight. They threw down the Atom ult just to keep the flatlining from happening. You know, they were getting picked off there a little bit, but yeah, Primus on that Magneto, absolutely clicking there on map number 2 and putting us at map number 3 here. So Thunderbolts in the fight. We got a series on our hands, taking it all the way here. But man, there's a couple other bright spots on the side of the Thunderbolts there. Serio putting in some serious work there. And as you can see, triple KOs across the board for the Thunderbolts. I thought they were going a little sideways there. Serio popped that Galactic Legend. There was so much sustain from CPP. They lived through every single clip, hit its mark, but they just couldn't find the KOs off that. But it didn't end up mattering there. And they got away with not banning the Moon Knight and still taking the win here. So plenty of bright spots for Thunderbolts on that map. CPP, again, I think they put in a solid performance there. SPX, again, on that Moon Knight, 38 elims, 22 finals. I mean, putting up numbers again and again. The DPS line
damage.
putting in work.
51k damage from the Moon Knight. Actually ridiculous from the side of SPX. But yeah, I think the ultimates were just better used from the Thunderbolts. I think they must have heard me in between maps and they decided, all right, I think this guy's right and he's onto something and he's really attractive and good at casting. So, they listened to me and they used their ult a lot better this time. Having that triple support was definitely something that I think won them this map and this round. Pretty strong stuff from everybody on the side of Thunderbolts. The Thing was really impactful. I think the Star-Lord was really impactful. A little bit of, late ults coming through from Jadboy, but I think it actually worked out in their favor because he was taken out early. They didn't overcommit those ults. So I think Thunderbolts got away with some pretty interesting ultimates, but was able to manage to get the win out in the end.
Absolutely. I am back. I've arrived. Very, very good game. What a bounce back is here from the Thunderbolts. And I really think that the stat line does tell a very interesting story there. I mean, obviously, like you guys have mentioned, SPX absolutely going insane yet again, putting in incredibly, I think you mentioned it, Mega Ninja, like 50,000 plus damage, which is crazy. But it really did feel like kind of a one-man team there. Everyone was doing fine, and there was a couple where their stats were, above average, but nothing crazy. Meanwhile, the side of that was Galactic. For the side of Thunderbolts, it was actually a very even spread. I mean, 25,000 plus damage from both Vanguards and the DPS, all right around the 30 elim mark. It's a lot more spread out, but when you have that many threats on the board, it becomes so much more difficult to deal with. So I think it's a very good bounce back for Thunderbolts, and it does also prove, because we were talking about, the Moon Knight, do you ban them away? I think Thunderbolts just proves you don't have to. Just stick to your game plan.
Yeah, I mean, the DPS line for CPP looked great. Lots of KOs, plenty of damage going down left and right, but the DPS alone doesn't get you there. I mean, if you look across the board, the support players, Vanguards and strategists for the Thunderbolts doing a lot of work, picking up most damage blocked, most assists, most healing. The back line for CPP falling behind a little bit. They sustained at some key points in some of those fights, like I was talking about, that last Galactic Legend from Serio, absolutely insane sustain from them, but just gotta pick it up a little bit in the back line and in the front line too. They are playing with just one Vanguard too, so as soon as Zacho goes down, I mean, they don't have anybody to protect them, so really easy to get to the squishy center of that team.
I think you might have to swap this up. Maybe drop one of your DPS and swap over to 2 Vanguards. Maybe you ban the Star-Lord out if Serio is able to do that much. But I'm hoping to see some more come out from Thunderbolts and also from the side of Galactic. It's been a very back and forth, but we are, I'm excited to see the third map.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do believe map is ready here. Yep, will be announced. And we're back.
Guys,
I hope you didn't miss it.
Convoy.
The Convoy Rivals Series.
God, I love Convoy.
It's gotta be Convoy. We are gonna be going to Araco. Very different. I know Diatonic. Araco, we've been seeing quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. I know one of your big sayings is that this is the Hell's Haven of Convoy maps, and I would tend to agree. Very different. I think it's actually gonna be very different from the previous 2 maps that we've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about a map like Hell's Heaven, it's kind of characterized by lots of hallways, lots of flank opportunities, plenty of spots to jump scare the enemy team, on something like a Black Panther or a Daredevil. So Araco built a little bit similarly. There's a lot of weird corridors and portals that go to different places, and it can be a map where you can lose kind of that map awareness very quickly. People are coming out from all sides, so it can be pretty tricky, and it does feel a lot different than other convoy maps. At least I would say that's one saving grace of going to Araco to end this series.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're back into convoy hell, I'll say, but it's not too bad. Araco is a pretty interesting map in terms of convoy. I'm interested to see what kind of comps we come up with here. See what kind of differences we make. Maybe the draft phase is a little bit different in terms of what gets banned. I would like to see some variety between what's getting banned. We see the Hela ban, we see the Invisible Woman ban, but like it'd be cool to see maybe a Star-Lord gets banned, or maybe the Moon Knight gets banned, or maybe we look at the Thing. I know he had a lot of impact on the last map, so it'd be kind of cool just to see some differences in the draft phase.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you always have to take the environmental factors into account. There's a lot more cliffs to fall off here on this map as opposed to Hollow Jalia. But with that being said, teams are ready to go. Game 3, winner takes all here between these two very evenly matched teams. I'm going to send it away to you guys. Have a good time. Enjoy Game 3. It's going to be a banger.
All right. Thank you, Soren. It's going to be a map 3. This might be a giga banger if we get to watch it go into all of its glory. I'm interested to see what gets banned, like I was saying, and what gets protected here. It'd be cool to see some diversity. I think the Hela is still going to be first banned because, water is wet. But I'm interested to see if there's any variety. Yeah. Oh, hey, whoa, shocker. Hela gets banned first from the side of Galactic here. The Mantis ban is going to be on the side of the Thunderbolts, so they don't really want to deal with this Mantis here. Like Soren was saying, there are a lot of cliffs on this map. I have seen in my own ranked games, Angela's taking plenty of people off the map. We haven't seen Angela here, but it would be kind of cool to see Angela. But Protect ban going through, Protect onto the Mantis going through for the side of Thunderbolts, so they definitely want to play the Mantis here and have that advantage over Galactic. Magneto ban coming through from the side of... Oh, Magneto ban from the side of Galactic is interesting, actually.
Yeah, and I mean, you read my mind, basically. I was going to say, I won't be surprised to see somebody pick up an Angela here on this map, but CPP Galactic, they do save the Strange for themselves here. They have definitely played the Strange card a lot in the draft phase in this series, but yeah, I do feel like both of these teams, they've changed it up here and there, but I feel like they've kind of stuck to similar ideas with their comps and with the bans, but I feel like going to Araco you can really change things up here, but nobody's going to be playing Hela this time around. Bans from both Galactic and the Thunderbolts here, and CPP following that up with a Bucky ban as well. Luna Snow banned out from the Thunderbolts here, so going after some strategists here, trying to clean up the back line a little bit if they can here. Last save for CPP Galactic, and it's hard to say what they actually go for on the save here. I mean, do they go? No, they're going to take the Invis. I was going to say, do they go for the Moon Knight save one more time? But no, Invisible Woman going to be their last one. So they got to hold on to some strategists that they are ready to play.
Oh, and because Galactic protects the Invisible Woman, the Moon Knight ban comes through from Thunderbolts. So, okay, I'm glad to see some diversity, some adaptability coming through from these teams. Not going to be just banning, the same picks every time. Oh, yep, there goes the Hela, there goes some of the strategists. But they're going to look at what their strengths are, and they see the Protect ban onto Strange. So they are both going to be going to Strange here, a pretty common Vanguard right now. I'm hoping to see Galactic go on to 2 Vanguards versus just the one, because it's a pretty risky comp, especially if Zacho dies. The Thing ban coming through. So like I was saying, they're adapting to these situations that they've been in. I don't know how good Thing is on this map, but they noticed that it was a really big issue for them last map, so they're going to utilize that ban for this map. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be 100% honest. I love the draft from Thunderbolts. Some really smart stuff in there. But the Moon Knight ban, of course, SPX has been an absolute demon this whole series, so, you know, no surprise there. They saved themselves a one-sided Mantis, so maybe looking for some damage boost strats this time around. Banning out the Hela and the Luna both just seem like very solid choices, so they are playing smart. And, you know, CPP has some as well. You know, they took down the Bucky there. They also banned out the Hela. Both sides have saved themselves a Doctor Strange, so Strange Portal recontests on the board here for both teams. But yeah, you know, very, very interesting stuff out of the draft phase. I really like both sides of it, but man, I would say the Thunderbolts have a couple of big dubs there in that draft phase that may help them close this thing out. But map number 3 here, best of 3. So this is the decider here on Araco between these two teams, both in the hunt for their first win in this split. So of course now time to lay it all on the line here to see who walks away with their first win here in week number 4.
Yeah, I'm liking Thunderbolt's cop a little bit better. Having those 2 Vanguards with the triple support going to be on the Emma and the Strange. Galactic going the triple support, but only having that Strange. Yet again, Zacho is going to be the only Vanguard available from Galactic. So if he goes down, you're going to have to give a lot of space up from the side of Galactic. And I don't know if I love that, especially on the Convoy map. SPX gets taken out almost immediately from the Emma. Zacho's going to be falling probably next unless he gets the sustainability. He does not. So it looks like the Strange diff is going to be coming through here from the side of the Thunderbolts. And it looks like Thunderbolts is going to get a really nice, clean, even fight win off rip. Apollo is going to be holding this space up, but you are on Punisher. You can't hold it by yourself. You're going to have to probably back up here. The bubbles are coming through from the Jeff in order to get them back faster, but they're already at this first corner. A lot of push coming through from the side of the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I mean, big opener for them. You know, the comp that CPP is running really hard to hold them at spawn here, so you're going to see this almost every time they play this. They're going to give up some ground at the start and slowly lock in that defense over time. So forced into the neutral here, you know, Moon Knight off the table, so no particularly crazy fast ult charges. I know that Kraken Impact doesn't take too long to charge up, but no ridiculous over and over Khonshu summoning here. 1 minute, 15 seconds off the clock, and Thunderbolts rounding the last corner here towards checkpoint number 1. The SPX coming in armed and dangerous, and he finds Eevee as well. One strategist taken down and looking for the reset, but cannot quite lock it in there, so that is the end of that Kraken Impact. And Mikey, that's going to be a CYA for the Thunderbolts here. They're looking to get back in this fight. CPP does have control of the payload here, and that's going to be a little bit of a reset for the Thunderbolts here, but they're going to have 4 ults coming into this fight against 4. Yamamoto comes out from Ananobi here, but it only looks like it makes contact with SPX there, and in response, they are going to take down the Rocket Raccoon. So Thunderbolts, I feel like a little bit of a misstep here, and Ananobi follows him back to the spawn room too. So missteps here as they're looking to try and get in the fight for this first checkpoint.
Yeah, really interesting to see Ananobi on that Strange, considering he's been on that DPS a lot. He was on the Thing last map, but it is interesting to see him on the Strange right now, considered this main tank role. A lot of ults are going to be available from the side of Galactic, but same with Thunderbolts. They are going to be just down 1 ult right now. I like the ults a little bit better from the side of Galactic here. You're going to have that Galactic Legend online from Thunderbolts. The Eye of Agamotto is going to be coming through, but the Sleep is going to come through, canceling that, pretty much canceling that ult. The Luna ult is going to be popped. So is the Star-Lord ult going to be mirrored with the Invisible Woman ult. However, Apollo goes down, not able to get in that ult in time. Has that Punisher ult, but Quasar is able to get the kill on the Stereo. The Res Beacon is going to be utilized in order to bring back Stereo. The Emma Frost ult is going to be used, and Droopy is going to be trying to use that. Oh, gets 2 kills! A huge 2K here from Droopy. Oh, and actually gets pushed. Primus gets pushed off the map by the Invisible Woman, and it looks like Thunderbolts are going to be thrown back yet again. A huge ult fight, however. You do have 2 ults on the side of Thunderbolts versus just the 1, but the Punisher ult is quite powerful, can kill through some support ults, so we're going to have to maybe get a lot of value off of this Strange ult. That's what you got to be looking for. 45 seconds left. You have to win this fight.
Yeah, last fight territory here with the Thunderbolts on offense here, but CPP fully in control of the payload here. One Eye of Agamotto is all the Thunderbolts are going to have here, and a CYA beacon as well here. But CPP going to build some ults in the middle of this fight here, so they could get stunned if they're not careful, though. That Eye of Agamotto, big connection there. Serio finds a 2K, Mikey throws down the CYA beacon, and this may be a huge, impactful win here for the Thunderbolts as they are finding pick after pick. Just 12 seconds left to go, but the path forward time is clear. Primus making sure of that, holding back the members of CPP that are looking to maybe get back in on one engagement here. But no, the Thunderbolts there, though, misfired a few times on that first checkpoint. Now in control here. 2:30 on the clock, and just inches away from a Galactic Legend here. So Thunderbolts not giving up in spite of that clock dropping so low there.
Yeah, both ults popped. Apollo still has this Punisher ult online. You have to pop that. You need to win a fight here. You need to stop this momentum that Thunderbolts are gaining right now. Looks like SPX is going to go for a flank. Gonna get a kill onto one. Star-Lord is going to be flanking, maybe looking for a kill. The BRB beacon is already used for Thunderbolts. They're not going to be having that for another 45 seconds here. A lot of ults are available from the side of Galactic. You have to pop one of these ults. You have to stop them before this kill happens. I mean, the hill is a pretty good defensive place to hold, but you need to get something done. Anubi is able to get SPX. Not going to have that. And also the Kraken info. Okay, Invisible Woman ult is going to be used. Groupie is caught out of position, however, and so is Apollo. You don't play in the Invisible Woman ult, and it looks like Bad Boy is going to go for the eat on everybody inside. Has 3 in his mouth. He's so hungry. Gets the kill onto Korda inside and throws them off of the map. Oh my gosh, a triple for the Jeff. Huge ult plays. Apollo still has this Punisher ult. I'm begging you to hit Q. He's just playing out of position. They pop the Invisible Woman ult to counteract the Star-Lord ult, but 2 of them aren't playing inside of it. So they're just not able to survive, and it's pretty much a wasted ult.
Yeah, I would say a lot of missteps from both teams here as we get into the last checkpoint for the Thunderbolts offense here. 2 ults ready for them, 4 ults ready to go for CPP. So big defensive opportunity as we kind of round the last couple corners of Araco here. 3 now online for the Thunderbolts. They do have that Fate of Both Worlds ready to go here. So they are going to have some potential for some sustain coming into what may be one of the last fights of this map here. But yeah, the Thunderbolts, or CPP, excuse me, finally letting that Punisher ult go here, but where's the follow-up? There's just no other ults here. Doesn't do a ton on its own, just not enough damage outright here, but one ult that you can let rip on its own. Psionic Seduction here. Primus looking to take control of CPP. Walk his way, he says, as they'll find a couple of KOs here at the last. They do still have some more ults in the back pocket. They took out the Jeff, so no Jeff ult ready to go. Evie is gonna let the Fate of Both Worlds fly here, and Mikey's gonna CYA to follow up. Quasar taken down on the side of CPP. One support for them down and out. Zako letting the Eye of Agamotto go. Big hit there. Finds 3 members of the Thunderbolts there, but just not enough damage to follow up. Primus will get off the BRB beacon. Bad Boy will go back to the spawner, and the UTTB will let all of the ults go here. Overhead, Galactic Legend from Serio on the ground. CYA to keep the sustain, but just not enough value here. Not enough KOs from the Thunderbolts to confirm it yet. 1 minute and 15 seconds left to go here, and we're going back to neutral game.
What a weird series of events. Groupie goes for the flank eat and just gets 1, so the rest of Thunderbolts is able to just kind of look at him and kill him, meaning that there's not enough sustainability to keep everybody else alive. Also very interesting that they used the Punisher ult so far back. It was such a kiteable ult that, you know, Thunderbolts was like, oh no, it's Judge, Jury, and Executioner, but then they just like turned a corner and got away from it because he's so slow. It was really far back, and you know, I was saying you got to use it, but that doesn't mean you got to use it at such an inopportune time. SPX is going to be kicked in, going to be kept alive, however, thanks to this Jeff with so much sustainability. The first setup, getting a lot of pressure down. Oh my god, Thunderbolts have so many ults available to them. Zero is going to be trying to go for a flank play here, going to use that TP out. Thank you with that team up. SPX goes down to Jad Boy, maybe got slept there. A little bit of a bad situation to be in. 2 ults are going to be available for the side of Galactic. But Thunderbolts have like 4 ults available for them. You have to get something done with it. There's the Eye of Agamotto going to be connecting onto 3 people right there and there. Going to be a huge kill onto the rocket. However, they're going to pop the Mantis ult. The Punisher ult's going to be utilized right now. Who's going to be able to punish on material? It's overtime right now. The Emma Frost ult's going to be used in return here. Not going to be connecting on too much right now. The Punisher is going to be placed down right on this point. SPX is going to pop their ult. Not going to be able to connect on many without getting a kill because the Luna ult is going to be in return. Quasar is going to pop that Cloak and Dagger ult. You have this Invisible Woman ult, and you're close to getting this Jeff ult. Maybe you can get an eat off a point. Anubi's going to be flying right above. Has this Eye of Agamotto available. The Amplifier is going to be utilized. Droopy has 2 people in his mouth. Not going to be able to take out anybody just yet. Apollo's going to go down to the Eye of Agamotto. Look at that. All right. Looks like Droopy's going to take out some people to the side room. Not going to be able to find any kill cover. Quasar goes down, and they don't touch. They don't touch. Oh my god. Thunderbolts don't touch. They can't secure the point. I think that was going to go in their favor, giving Galactic a chance to win this series off of a C9.
Yeah, they just got drawn just a step or two off the payload in the middle of that fight. You've seen it happen a million times. It's always a heartbreaker there because I'm with you. I do think the Thunderbolts were probably about to clear the map. So no map clears on this broadcast. No one able to overcome that third and final checkpoint. But Thunderbolts putting together a pretty solid back half of the offense there after a pretty slow start. I kind of thought they were looking at a no checkpoint offensive run, but no, they did at least manage to see the finish line there. So checkpoint number 2 and 123 meters is all that stands between CPP Galactic and victory here. Thunderbolts, though, of course, not going to let them do that so easily. But yeah, last opportunity for Galactic to get on the board here.
Okay, very interesting. Galactic's like, all right, guys, it's winnable. Let's go to 2 Vanguards now. SBX is going to take over that Punisher role away from Apollo. Apollo's going to be on Phoenix, actually. You know what? Phoenix is actually the Marvel character that has died the most in comics history. This is a real and true statistic. This is real. No, a lot of Marvel characters die and get like reincarnated, reawakened. I don't know the term. Like revived, I guess. But yeah, Jean Grey Phoenix has died the most in comics history. Hopefully that's not the same in this game that we see out of Apollo right now. That would be a pretty bad performance to see. A lot of poking damage going to be available from this Phoenix that has so much potential to get these long-range kills. Not having that Moon Knight, kind of like a substitution for that Moon Knight for that Hela as an option. Primus is going to be a little bit in there, but he's going to be able to stay alive for right now. A lot of damage is coming through from the side of the Thunderbolts, actually getting everybody a little low, but they're going to be able to stay alive for right now. Anubi going to be having this position available. Maybe gets grabs here. Nope, gets kicked into the wall, however. He's going to be dropping to half HP, but going to be able to stay alive for right now. And Galactic is kind of just walking this objective in right now. It's kind of nice the space that they're getting.
Yeah, it seems like Thunderbolt's kind of just taking a few steps back, letting them walk it out a little bit, maybe to create at least a little bit of distance between the payload and the spawn room. They don't want to have to fight under a constantly spawning team here. So neutral game going to take place here at about the halfway point to checkpoint number 1 here. And yeah, like you said, the swaps for CPP Galactic trying to stay versatile, but Ananobi on the side of the Thunderbolts taking down Apollo. So that is a Phoenix sent back to the spawn room here, forcing out a couple of ultimates, 2 support ults stacked on top of each other. But Jadboy, big Jeff ult there, the 3K on the Jeff on defense. Huge plays from the Thunderbolts to start things off here. They still have 3 ultimates. They have control of the payload, make that 4 ultimates. They are holding all the cards here with about 2:30 on the clock. So still a few more team fights in store for the back half of Araco here. But right now, it is all Thunderbolts all day long, at least for now.
Wait, this is really interesting. Galactic actually used the Invisible Woman ult and the Cloak and Dagger ult, so they're not going to have any support ults available to them. However, Thunderbolts is going to have 2 available. That's not how the Eye of Agamotto works, actually. You're not able to stun that Punisher, so not going to be able to find any value. However, the Luna ult is going to come through, going to be able to keep everybody alive through that. Not going to be able to find any value. Eye of Agamotto is going to be used. 2 more ults going to be popped from the side of Thunderbolts. Phoenix ult going to be used, going to be a lot of damage in, but not going to be able to find any following kills. Primus is able to kill on the Zaka. Apollo is going to go down to the Galactic Legend here, and it looks like stability is going to be coming through from Thunderbolts despite having to use a lot of ults. However, SPX is able to get the kill on Ethereal, and it looks like maybe they want to re-aggress with that. So they have this Emma Frost ult available if they decide to use it. It's possible. You have this high ground here if you're the side of SPX. You're going to back them up to the corner. I don't know if I love the use of it. You have these ultimates available. You have 3 ults if you are the side of Galactic. And you have to watch out for this Jeff ult. This Jeff ult could be absolutely huge again. You cannot lose 3 this fight. It is a minute and 20 left.
Yeah, I feel like their ult spread right now is like a puzzle with the pieces not quite fitting right well together. Quasar's going to let that Eternal Bond go here. I was expecting maybe a Psionic Seduction follow-up to walk him into the damage zone, but no, Jadboy on the Jeff yet again. Taken down, though, by Zacko there. So Thunderbolts on the back foot here, at least in this matchup. CPP Galactic on the charge here, finally. Under 60 seconds to go, and they are moving here. UTTB may have an opportunity here to get one last contention in, but I don't see a Strange Portal coming out just yet. They at least have Luna on the board, but that's not enough to hold, especially against that Psionic Seduction. Both strategists taken control of by that Psionic control. CYA coming down from Mikey. They are going to fight this thing out on the last tier here. 30 seconds left to go with 1 meter left. Droopy finds one KO onto Easy, though. One strategist taken down, and SPX takes the opportunity to go for that final judgment here. Cleaning up UTTB, the Thunderbolts going back to the spawn room here, and CPP Galactic will be going on to that first checkpoint. 2:45 on the clock, and CPP is back in the fight. So both teams struggling quite a bit on offense on that first checkpoint, but now kind of back in control and on the move is CPP Galactic. They've got one ultimate ready to go. They'll have that Ensong Inferno. They'll have that Eye of Agamotto as well. Thunderbolts gonna have to do a little bit of neutral building, but they may potentially have 3 ults coming into the next fight.
Yeah, honestly, I think Thunderbolts might have won that. However, Jadboy misses the toss of the Emma into the pit, so she's able to stay alive. Honestly, I think that might have decided the map right then and there, being down that Vanguard, but not going to happen. Zaka is going to go down here in this next engagement. We have to look away from the past and look towards the present right now. Galactic Legend is going to be poppy. You're going to be looking really hard at Quasar. Going to go down here. SPX is going to be taken out from the Doctor Strange. He popped the Feeding Salt, which is quite interesting to say the least, and Droopy's going to go down. So Feeding Salt's not going to be able to connect onto anything really, so you kind of use that for no reason. Maybe Apollo is going to want to swap here. Hopefully, at least. You have 3 ults from the side of Galactic, and you have 3 ults, almost 4 ults from the side of Thunderbolt.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Jean Grey just not as impactful as CPP was hoping here. Looking for the swap, but maybe not going to get it at least this time. Would be a perfect opportunity after using the Ensong Inferno, but they're going to stick with it for now. These Thunderbolts, they're going to have about 4 ults, maybe a CYA here coming into this fight. So plenty of sustain for the Thunderbolts here as we get into this uphill battle, quite literally here. Pretty difficult section of the map for offense, like you said on the last half there. So Jadboy's going to let that Jeff ult go first. Captured anybody. The big Eye of Agamotto from out of nowhere there finds 3 triple KO for the Doctor Strange, the master of mysticism there, and still 3 ults left to go for the Thunderbolts. Serio will find a pick onto Droopy there in the background of that fight, but right now, once again, Thunderbolts back in control, and maybe at the worst potential time, if you are CPP, you know, this already is enough of a difficult task, but now staggered a little bit, they're missing their cloak and dagger, they are going to have to take some time and full reset, so I would say we are probably in final fight territory here.
Yeah, final fight territory. However, Galactic has 4 ults online right now versus 3 for the side of Thunder. I like the ultimates better from the Galactic side. They have to get some value off of this Punisher ult. Punisher ult is such a strong ultimate ability. You have to do something with it. Punisher ult's going to be used here. Going to be looking really hard at the Vanguards here. Oh my gosh, going to get the kill onto Primus here. Newbie is taking so much damage, going to go down. Cloak and Dagger all used also. I'm not sure you wanted to pop 3 ults there. They're going to be able to get a recontest also. Now you're down to just 2 ults versus Thunderbolt's 4. You have to get some value here. Serio go looking for the flank here with the Galactic Legend. Going to try to close out this map with 1 second left. We are now in overtime. And it looks like Luna ult is going to be forced here from the Thunderbolts here. Serio's looking for the flank kill. Not going to be able to find anything just yet, but able to get SPX. The production used from the Emma Frost. Oh, not going to be able to find anything just yet here. And it looks like that's going to be it. It looks like Thunderbolts are going to be your winners for this series.
Final score.
Kind of a whimper on the way out, honestly, from the side of Galactic.
Yeah, I mean, quite a mountain to climb there. Like 4 ultimates ready to go for the Thunderbolts. They let them all fly there. And death may not be permanent in the Marvel Universe, but victory is. And the victors today, the side of the Thunderbolts there. Serio picking up that last MVP on the Star-Lord. And man, what a comeback here. I believe that is a reverse sweep. It's a best of 3, but reverse sweep nonetheless there to close things out. So huge comeback from them as well. And, you know, it felt like the tides kind of shifted throughout this whole match, right? And now you get your tail of the tape. You see kind of how this went down. And, you know, Serio 38 elims, 15 final hits, and Anobi on the Doctor Strange. Truly mysticism there. 27 elims and 15 final hits, along with the most damage blocked in the game. So, you know, putting out some damage and taking it too. You know, again, on the side of CPP Galactic, there's some bright spots here and there. SPX did put out some serious damage on that Punisher. A couple missteps on the ults here and there. Same for Apollo. And I feel like, you know, when the DPS line is struggling, it kind of just cascades down the whole team. So at least for today, Thunderbolts complete the reverse sweep. 2-1 victory for them, and they are on the board here in the Collegiate Rivals Series, leaving CPP Galactic still in the hunt for their first win this split.
Yeah, it kind of looks again like it was just a one-man army from the side of Galactic. I mean, SPX drops like I think like 15 kills or something, and you know, Apollo got 1 final hit. one final blow. So it's, you need to do more if you are the DPS, and I know that Galactic is gonna reevaluate what happened, look over these maps. It was winnable, and I think they'll come back, and their next match is hopefully going to be a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm back. And yeah, I think it really was said well, where it just kind of felt like CPP kind of went out with a whimper there. Not a great attacking side for them there, as they just kind of fall short. They're not able to get over that hump at the final hurdle. And I mean, like you guys said, it really does show on the stat line. Very similar to last game, where there was still some really good performances. I believe SPX again put up some crazy numbers, but it's our rivals. It's a team game. You cannot single handedly carry a team to victory unless you're an absolute god of the game, like maybe Terra on Punisher, for instance. But I'm 100 Thieves fan. Don't mind me. But yeah, no, it just seemed like while they got off to a good start, maybe they caught Thunderbolts when they were still not fully in the zone in game number 1. But the moment we got off that convoy map, game 2 started, they looked really good. And once they got into a bit of a groove, it just seemed like the momentum was there, and they were not willing to give Galactic any more hope that they were going to be taking this series. It looked very strong for Thunderbolts. And yeah, that's a massive win for them. I mean, this is their first win so far this season, so that's a massive momentum piece. Maybe they can start swinging momentum back into their favor. I think we're approaching the halfway mark of the season, so this is the time to really start hitting the groove if you're towards the bottom end of the table.
Yeah, and I mean, really, the game changer on map 3, I do think to some degree, is the missed ults by CPP Galactic. Ninja, you pointed it out a lot there, but Punisher ults, by themselves aren't really game changers. There's a lot of damage there for sure, but when you're facing down that much sustain, at this level, the backline's ready for a solo Punisher ult. That just doesn't quite cut it. Same goes for Apollo on the Phoenix, right? There were a couple missed in-song Infernos, not a lot of damage output, and just no swaps coming out. So, I think time and time again, we kind of come back to this versatility thing, and, knowing when to get off of the character you're on, find something else that works, or just try something different is a big part of the game. So, yeah, I mean, big ups to the Thunderbolts too, though. They didn't just win this off the back of missed ults at all. I mean, Serio put in serious work there on Araco, and they're all kind of firing on all cylinders, everybody coming together to do their jobs. And like you were saying, Soren, it is a team game. And when, every single line, front line, mid, back, everybody's working together and doing what they're supposed to do, that's the result you see.
I mean, yeah, on the side of Galactic, I just want to say real quick before we get into our next, I think our next match is coming up pretty soon, but I just wanted to say real quick, SPX, he was trying his best. He was on that one-man army, and unfortunately the rest of his team wasn't able to do the amount of impact that he had. I unfortunately, the Phoenix was playing right into what I said about the comics, where they died the most. They did have 12 deaths at the end, going 10 and 12. So, I think, you got to reevaluate what's going on. Maybe you look at, the strengths of other players around you. SPX really did a lot that round. And then, I would feel pretty confident, like walking away, that you can win one of these games. If you are the side of Galactic, you just got to lock in for your next couple of series.
Yeah. Absolutely. And speaking of that, we are going to be kind of jumping right into the next game. So not even going to an intermission. We're just doing it live. And we're going to see how CPP respond here, as we are going to be watching their game again. So it's going to be CPP Galactic, once again, but they are going to be going up against Georgia Tech Gold, which I think is going to be a little bit of a difficult task for them. Obviously, game 1 for them for the day, definitely a little bit rough, but that Georgia Tech roster definitely having a notable name or two, Diatonic, if you want to talk about it real quick, because I know we saw it before we'd even gone live with game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. So Georgia Tech Gold taking on Cal MR, the UC Berkeley team. for this one. Georgia Tech, a name in Collegiate Rivals definitely to know. They've been around the block. They're in a couple different leagues. They've taken on and defeated teams like Fisher, teams full of pro Marvel Rivals players. So they are kind of a threat to look out for. We're talking about the number 4 team from NECC Spring Tournament and the number 2 out of the NECC Summer Tournament. And also, they do have a pro player themselves in Fraud from Dark Zero. So I don't know if Fraud's going to be present, though, because, there's this little thing called Ignite Grand Finals coming up in a couple days. You may have heard of it, but so definitely some threats on that team as well. I'm curious to see, how the UC Berkeley team responds. They are pretty close in seeding, so should be an interesting matchup between the two of them.
Oh, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I did not know any of that going into this next match. I am now so much more excited to cast this. Listen. I know a lot of collegiate teams have a lot of the pro players on them. That's the same thing with Overwatch, the main game that I do cast. A lot of those teams have professional players on them, currently T1 players on some collegiate teams. But it is interesting now to see if, Georgia is going to be able to do, if they're able to, keep up this momentum. I mean, it sounds like they have a pretty strong roster. I'm excited to see them play now. But I'm excited to also see what draft phase we see now that these players are going to be, I'm not going to say that the last teams were bad to say, but I'm going to say that these players are just like on a different tier, right? And so it's going to be interesting to see the difference in the draft phase and the ban phase.
Absolutely, especially as we've actually seen the first map earlier today. It's not Convoy, guys.
Hallelujah!
At least for now. You never know what's going to happen in the future, but we take the wins as we get them. But we are going to be going back to Convergence. Hall of Jalia is going to be the random map picked. Diatonic, you were talking about the bans a little bit here, maybe something a little bit more meta when it comes to the pick bans. What are we expecting here on Hall of Jalia?
Yeah, especially on, first map of a multi-map series, a lot of teams just go for the meta picks. I feel like Georgia Tech, a little bit more of a known team, so maybe there is some homework having been done here for Cal MR, for Cal Berkeley. That's kind of the question, you never really know. I do see some teams go for the target bans right off the bat. Hollow Jalia, we do have high ceilings, so I would expect to see maybe, flyer opportunities are there, maybe some Star-Lord plays there, or maybe some Star-Lord bans in the draft phase. But this map I feel like is very favored by competitive players. You see Hollow Jalia all the time. So I fully expect a competent matchup here for sure.
Yeah, I'm interested into this map. I know that we saw a lot of Star-Lord get a lot of value in the last matchup. I think Soria going absolutely crazy on it. Apollo doing pretty good work when they were on the Star-Lord. I think they were on the Star-Lord at least. I already can't remember. But maybe we'll see a couple Star-Lord bans coming out here from these higher level teams, I'm going to just say.
Yeah, absolutely. But with that being said, I believe we are getting ready to get in the game here. So I'm going to send it back over to you two. Enjoy game number 1. This is, of course, going to be Georgia Tech Gold versus Cal MR. I misspoke earlier. So sit down, relax, let the casters do their job, and let's get into the game.
All right. We're going to be right in. Thank you for the send over, Soren. Interesting to see some of these hovers. I know these hovers might be just a little bit of, a little bit of trolling picks, kind of. Who did you say the pro player was from the side of Georgia Tech?
Fraud from Dark Zero, but considering we're just a couple days away from the first, Rivals World Championship, I have to imagine he might be busy. So no Fraud here today, but, plenty of strong players on the side of Georgia Tech. Like we talked about, they beat Fisher over in the NECC Marvel Rivals League, so made a name for themselves, Man, this team has been putting up some numbers here, but Cal MR, they're again, these are two teams very close in seeding. They both have the same record of 2-1. I don't know who all Cal has faced in this league up to now in the CRS. But yeah, I feel like we're in for an interesting fight, and some stuff coming out here in the ban phase. A couple interesting things. Luna Snow save from Cal MR and a Magneto save from Georgia Tech Gold. It's going to be a one-sided Magneto, and they're also going to ban Emma Frost. So season 2.5, season 3 called. They want their bans back because we're all the way back there. But they're also going to take out the Psylocke 2 away from Cal MR. On Cal's side, though, they did ban the Rocket, the Mantis, and the Luna. So they're going for the classic, the We Hate Strategists ban phase.
Yeah, really interesting to see a Psylocke ban coming through. We haven't seen a lot of Psylocke being played here, but maybe they know something that I don't. I'm not gonna lie to you folks and say that I know a lot about this game. I do play this game pretty, I play it pretty all right, but I am not on the competitive level that some of these players are. Definitely, you're not in the T1 scene. But looks like a Cloak and Dagger Protect is going to come through from Georgia Tech. So, gonna have to save at least one single strategist, considering that Cal MR wants all of them gone and evaporated, considering that they banned the Invisible Woman as well. So very, very limiting options on the side of strategist for GT. Gonna protect the Captain America. That is an interesting excuse me.
Yeah, I love Cap. I love to see some Cap. Very interesting that they chose him for the last save. I couldn't imagine Georgia Tech banning him last unless maybe they knew something about the team. But no, it is going to be the Strange ban at the end. So Georgia Tech will have the Portal Recontest on the table, but not for Cal MR. So, man, that's... you see it more and more. I started to see it right at the beginning of season 4, and I thought, really? I can't believe Doctor Strange is getting banned. But then I saw one game, a domination game, where a team would have been able to recontest with the portal, and they just couldn't. I said, man, I don't know why nobody thought of this until now, but now it has caught on like wildfire. So Strange banned yet again. Draft phase over here. Nothing too crazy coming out, though. Again, those strategist bans onto Georgia Tech. Pretty limited options for them, but they are going to opt for the Cloak and Dagger. Convex is going to be on that, and then Severin is going to take Jeff. So they do manage to find a couple of still pretty strong ones, I would say. But yeah, Cloak and Dagger, just don't see her as much nowadays.
Yeah, a lot. I'm really. What is this? Are we throwing mines over the spawn room in order to get some early damage in? Is that a real thing? I didn't know that was a real thing. That's what? What? Is that allowed?
Believe that. You're kidding me.
That's incredible. Wait, can somebody clip that, please? That was incredible. Wow, gonna swap over to the Magic now. Jeff is already gonna be down from the side of Georgia Tech. Holy moly.
Yeah, I have never seen that tech before. There's a lot of cheeky stuff you can do with Penny, especially with some strange portals and a room with only one way in and out. But hey, good start for UCB here as we get underway. Hall of Jalia for map number 1 between these two teams, both 2-1 records here, so somebody's looking to advance to 3-1 here, though GT will find one there. They take out Porchita, so Mantis back to the spawn room for now here, and it does look like UCB is going to be on the attack. Georgia Tech defending here first, so not a bad start. Man, they really traded here. The UCB 1-1, but a very early cheeky pick there. So man, yeah, that's one to clip.
If that won them the round, that would have been so impressive. But it looks like Georgia Tech is going to be able to stabilize. I mean, it is a Jeff that you've killed. They are pretty quick to come back, and it looks like the Jeff is actually going to be used here from the side of USB. Going to have Justice Strange in the mouth. Going to try to go off the map here. Maybe be able to manage to do it. Looks like it's going to happen. Magel's going to be popped here. Not going to be able to find anything really. A lot of damage going to be coming through onto the Luna Snow. Brutal is going to be popped. Cloak and Dagger is going to be used in return here. Back and forth coming through from both sides. Mantis ult is going to be used. We have this Luna ult available. The Punisher ult is going to come through. Going to try to go through a lot of these health bars that are provided, and it looks like that Groot is just going to be put into mulch, and it looks like another kill is going to come through, and it looks like Georgia Tech is going to continue this hold right now.
Yeah, I mean, UCB, they do have a Groot. They bring him to the table, but Georgia Tech has a Punisher, so just shreds through. Yeah, made wood chips of him for sure, like you said, and just keeping it going there. Finds another pick there. Pashko on that Punisher. Big plays here so far for the defense. 2 minutes in, and no progress made by UCB towards this checkpoint. They do have a bright spot here in that they have an alt economy advantage. They've got 3, and they may have 2 more waiting in the wings here as they regroup and get back into this fight. Face to the Abyss coming out there from the side of UCB, but not a game changer here. GT gonna find the picks here. Double KO for MB there on that Winter Soldier, just keeping that Kraken impact rolling as they clean up the checkpoint here. UCB finally able to put a dent in that progress bar, but we are back down to nothing here. 1 minute and 20 seconds on the clock. UCB still holding on to 2 ultimates.
Yeah, pretty good ults used by the side of GT. I thought that it would be a little bit of a problem considering that they had so limited amount of strategists. What they have the Adam Warlock as an option, but you know you can't really run a triple support with an Adam Warlock and a Def. I mean, I guess you could try it. It would be quite interesting. Looks like we're going to swap over to the Captain America here. IMB is going to get another kill onto the Magic here in the side of UCB. The Punisher is going to try to push up here, try to get a lot of damage onto these walls. They're just going to back up right now. The Groot is still going to go down. You just don't have the ability to keep him alive, which is so interesting considering they are on triple support, unlike Georgia Tech. I'm interested to see how they need to attack this. They don't have the Strange available. They don't have the Mag available or the Emma Frost, so you're kind of limited in what tanks you can really pick here.
Yeah, it's a very tricky challenge. So Georgia Tech really playing some 5D chess here with them. They kind of forced them onto the Groot a little bit, and then now they've got one of the best Groot counters in the game here. 4 ultimates ready to go, but 5 for Georgia Tech now as we're getting ready for maybe what's going to be the last fight here. 15 seconds to go as UCB musters one more offense here against Georgia Tech. Convex on the ultimate, though. The Eternalon coming down first. Pashko's getting the damage down and finds their marks there. A double kill for that Punisher. Convex will pick one up too. Full ace for Georgia Tech, and that is going to be all she wrote for the offense from UCB to start things off here. No Doctor Strange portal to get him back, so it's going to be 1 tick for Georgia Tech to take map number 1.
Listen, I know we said that both of these teams are 2-1 right now, but it seems like one of them definitely has the advantage over the other. A complete full hold from Georgia Tech, 0% on the capture percentage. So we're not even going to be able to see any push of the actual bot coming through in this entire map. It's going to be so difficult. I don't know if you can keep playing the Groot into this Punisher. You have to adapt here. You know, Win is trying to play these dive tanks, going the Cap, going the Venom, but it's not working. You can't dive on it to anybody, and that's really a big problem if you are just having that one Vanguard who is just the Groot who gets shredded by the DPS of the side of Georgia Tech. You have to make adjustments. You cannot stay on the same comp, especially on defense. You're just going to be shredded.
Yeah, and it, you know, looking at the the respawn phase here, it feels like UCB is a little bit on the back foot here, trying to figure out what comp they need to try and muster here. So they're sticking to triple strat, but they are going to go for Ultron now. Haven't seen him as much this season, but he's coming out here just to try and get some more damage. And now on the side of Georgia Tech, there, Penny Parker looking to do much of the same.
Is this allowed?
To UCB.
Can we check the rule book? Is that allowed? I had no idea that was a thing. That's incredible.
As far as I know, completely legal. And I mean, hey, if you get away with it and get some KOs out of it, you know. Rough start for UCB, unfortunately for them here to start things off. So Georgia Tech, not too much work here. They just need 1 tick to get the map win here. And yeah, UCB has changed things up a lot here, but they are still on the Groot. There's not enough options for strategists there. It really feels like that Vanguard ban strategy from Georgia Tech really ended up being more oppressive than I initially thought here. So very quick defense for Georgia Tech to start things off, but it's going to be UCB. They're going to trade back and forth here. IMB and Parchino will both pick up KOs onto each other's teams. So starting things off a little bit more of a dead heat here as Georgia Tech, they're just going to get aggressive with it. They want that early, kind of close this map out and just go on to the next one. Considering they only need 1 checkpoint, I'm not too shocked to see that coming out here. The Winter Soldier are going to try and build up that Kraken impact, but Pajko finds the Groot. A double kill there on the Punisher shotgun, and the Winter Soldier will find 1 pick as well, and that may be more than enough to put Georgia Tech in the driver's seat here. Progress bar already moving. UCB nowhere to be found here, and that is game number 1. A very swift one. 57-second offense for Georgia Tech.
I mean, you know, UCB wanted to ban all these strategists away, so it kind of forces them onto a certain comp. But unfortunately for the side of Georgia Tech, they didn't care at all, and they just decided to ban all of the tanks. You saw they tried to go for a recontest, but their only option to go faster was to go Angela, which is not fast enough, not as fast as a Strange. So CalMR, the DPS of Georgia Tech are just doing so much. 20-0 from Pachko, 10 final hits. This Groot is just taking so much damage, and unfortunately kind of solo vanguarding, considering that Windboy is going to be on these Venom cap players or characters. So, you know, a little bit of an interesting, you have to reevaluate. I'm wondering where Cal is going to take us now.
Yeah, very good question. A rough start for UCB indeed, and two members of Georgia Tech. I believe that's Luxurious. Maybe, I apologize if I can't pronounce that. I can't read it. And Pachko as well. Both did not get eliminated on that first map there. So Punisher just tearing it up there. Most damage, most elims, a triple, and 10 final hits. Two members of CalMR, no finals for them. So just kind of a slow start for them, unfortunately. But you know, some teams really do tend to struggle on that first map. I know Soren is a big fan of 100 Thieves, and they are a team on the pro circuit that's known for dropping map number 1. So, you know, of course, it is a series. We got plenty more opportunities, but a very, very strong start from Georgia Tech, sending a statement here at the start of this series.
Yeah, I'm worried that this isn't going to be as close as the last match that we had, and this is going to be just a complete, absolute domination from Georgia Tech. CalMR is going to have to reevaluate, rethink their strategy, rethink their bans and drafting picks. You know, you cannot have your tanks taken away from you this time. Maybe we go to a map that's hopefully not Convoy. I would like to not be at Convoy anymore. You know, we've had this map and Convoy only, so it'd be cool to see something that's not Convoy, but we'll have to see what they want to take us to and what they want to ban.
How dare you manifest that? You could have just kept it quiet. We could have hoped to get
I'm
domination.
sorry.
But no,
sorry.
You said it. You said it, and now
it won't happen.
I feel
it won't
in
happen.
my bones.
Everybody pray. Everybody pray to Khonshu.
Also, Diatonic, I heard you mentioning my woes with 100 Thieves. Yes, you're absolutely right, and it causes me strife every single time. But yeah, back to the game. I mean, really not all that much to talk about. It was a very quick game. In fact, it was a 5-minute and 6-second game. So not a lot of sample size to really judge there, except for the fact that it looked like Georgia Tech was on just a different level. And I mean, the defense was insane. I do want to give a massive shout out to the Punisher. I'm realizing I don't have we moved so quickly, I don't have the name of the player, but that Punisher went 20-0 there, if I could find their name. Pachko, jeez. Dropping 17,000 damage, by the way. In a game that only goes 5 minutes. There's some games that, you know, we see the DPS drop that, and sure, they're like probably mid-length games, but there's some DPS that drop that over the course of like a 10-minute game in some circumstances. So getting that in such a short period of time really is indicative of how strong that duelist lineup is. So I'm really excited to see what we see from them next time around. I would not be surprised if, especially seeing as the strategist span away didn't really work, if they maybe target that duelist line, because that seems very, very scary.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, I feel like there's two tenets to what happened in that map number 1. I think some of it is the draft phase. I understand the strategy of going after the strategist. I mean, teams have done it before to great success. But, you know, if it's a team like Georgia Tech that can just play through it, clearly it's just not enough. And it's a lot of investment for not a lot of payouts. So I think that's part of it. You know, it comes down a lot to ultimates too. You know, Georgia Tech just finding value in every single ult they fired off on that map. And it felt like UCB just kind of struggling to find that value in those ultimates. So, you know, it's kind of fundamental, but, you know, you can't just, like we talked about in the last series, you know, you can't just activate a final judgment on its own. You need some kind of follow-up or something to initiate with it. So, it comes down to that alt activation and some of that chemistry, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it looked pretty dominant from Georgia Tech. I mean, I have no notes. I mean, they just outplayed, out-ulted, out-survived CalMR. And, you know, even with Cal getting that first pick in that ridiculous... Soren, have you ever seen that before? Have you seen that tech before? The penny over the wall.
I actually have. I have, and I've only ever seen it work one other time. A lot of people throw it out there, but it does not always land. But we do see the next map, and it is going to be Krakoa, so it's going to be Domination, which I think is rather interesting here. We always talk about how Convergence is a little bit of a combination of, the Convoy and Domination play. But, I mean, we saw this team really struggle on the Domination part of Convergence, and now we're going to be going into Domination with their map pick. So definitely an interesting pick, I in my opinion, at least.
Yeah. Thankfully, my prayers to Khonshu have gone through, and we don't get to see another Convoy map. Hallelujah.
Yeah, true. And I like Krakow. It's an interesting, now we're finally moving on. We're getting the third and final game mode because, there are only 3. There is no thing such as Resource Rumble. But the Doctor Strange ban has been thrown around a lot on the broadcast today and a lot in the competitive sphere recently. And I feel like it's particularly devastating on Domination. There are points where, on Convoy, your spawn's a little closer, a little bit further away, but there are times where you can kind of just walk in and get the recontest. But, on Domination, you know exactly where that point's going to be at all times. You know how far it takes to get. Both teams have that kind of that even distance from the point. So, yeah, expecting to see the Doctor Strange ban come back up again in the draft phase.
Yeah, absolutely. But we will just have to wait and see. We are getting into game number 2 here. Do or die for Cal MR. Take it away, you two. Enjoy game number 2 here.
All right, thank you, Soren. Now that you said that, I'm now imagine Marvel Rivals Ignite ends with a Resource Rumble free-for-all. That would be kind of interesting, would it not? That would be kind of fun. But no, we are going to be going into Domination here. The only game mode I have not casted yet. Looks like we already have the first bans out, and it looks like a lot of hovering for Calamari is going to be onto that Mr. Fantastic. So hopefully we see the Fantastic Four this time. Already, the first bans are going to be Rocket from the side of Calamar, and Georgia is going to be banning the Emma Frost here. So kind of similar patterns that we see so far, getting rid of those Vanguards, getting rid of those Strategists, but maybe we can see some differences, hopefully, from the side of Calamar.
Yeah, Mr. Fantastic, interesting. When the seasons changed, there was this fad for like a week where a lot of competitive players were suddenly playing Mr. Fantastic and like making things happen with him. So that's interesting to me. I do like some Mr. Fantastic, but I'm curious to, obviously, we're goofing here in the draft phase to start off. But yeah, interesting that they're hovering him. And I just remembered like a week or two ago, a lot of people were playing him. So things move fast in the meta here. But both sides are gonna get to take a Magneto into this one, so we haven't seen him a ton. I mean, I think every other map or so on this broadcast at least, but Calamar banning Strategist yet again here, going for the same strategy here. They take out the Rocket, they take out the Luna yet again. Georgia Tech also sticking to pretty similar picks here. They're going to ban out the Emma Frost as well. They take down the Psylocke, so not a ton of change in the draft phase here, but hey, I talked about it before. Doctor Strange ban coming out from UCB here, so no portal recontest for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get, not that many changes, but we are going to get a Protect onto that Magneto. So finally, Magneto's going to be available for Cal MR. Lastly, they were stuck on Groot, Venom, Groot, Captain America. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of differences in that. The Luna ban is going to come through from Georgia also with a Protect onto Invisible Woman. So they don't want to lose all of their strategists. They don't want to be on the same composition that they were on before. The Bucky ban comes through from Calamar. Interesting. I thought you would have banned the Punisher over the Bucky, but maybe the Bucky has more impact, especially on Krakoa. I don't know. But I'm interested to see what the final Protect is here from Calamar. Do you protect another Vanguard? Do you protect a strategist maybe? It's not like the DPS were that much of an issue. They did have a magic, but I don't remember seeing them do all too much.
Yeah, it's kind of a toss-up. They're going to save the cap, though, here at the very end. So, yeah, they do pivot away from the strategist there. They go after the Winter Soldier. B did have some plays on Winter Soldier, so kind of a target ban on that one. And, yeah, nice for Georgia Tech to save that invis for themselves. But it's going to be Doctor Strange banned out at the last. So no Strange here as we go to map number 2, match point for Georgia Tech already, and last opportunity for Calamar to get something going here and get on the board, make this thing a series for them. But Mercia at least is sticking to the Mr. Fantastic. Until the spawn room doors open, it's really hard to say. And there you go, off onto the Atom. But yeah, so a couple changes here from Calamar. I think they're trying to stay versatile with it, but man, it's hard to come back from a defeat like that. The mental game is going to be huge here for UCB as we go into what may be their last map.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm the side of Calamar right now, I cannot lose. If this first point goes 100-0 in the terms of Georgia Tech, that might just be it. Their mental might be so boomed that it's just right over, right then and there. Interesting to see the Hulk being played from Georgia Tech, actually. And not a tank that you see quite often these days, considering that Gamma team has been removed, or not removed, changed, removed. I think it's removed right now. So
Yes,
interesting to see him getting some playtime. Considering the situation that he's in right now. Also very interesting to see the backline of UCB going to be running the Mantis with the Invisible Woman and the Adam Warlock in return. Win going to be over on this Captain America here. Must be his signature hero. We'll have to see how he performs with it this time. Wasn't able to get a lot of value last map, but maybe he can do more this map.
Yeah, so classic triple strategist coming out from UCB here to kick things off. It's the triple strat Adam Warlock, so lots of sustain coming out from UCB this time. Perfect for something like domination there, and they're going to find the first blood there. Shin on that Magneto takes down B, so Namor back to the spawn room to start things off, and that should be a first cap for UCB there. Georgia Tech does not contest that one. They are going to look to find a different opening here to start things off. But yeah, more aggressive opening from UCB, a lot more solid. You'll love to see the swaps working out for him to start things off here. Pajko on the Hella this time around as we kick off some neutral phase. But yeah, big for UCB here. That kind of pushed Georgia Tech back. They're going to get some decent capture progress off this first cap.
Yeah, interesting to finally see some Hella. Well, okay, as I was talking about the Hella getting introduced, we do see them go down immediately. The Kraken impact is going to be used here from the side of UCB. Going to get another reset here. Goes for a triple kill so far. Gets another one onto the Magneto. Maybe gets a fourth reset. I don't know if you're going to be able... Well, maybe Paco goes down, but it doesn't look like anything's going to happen here. You have this Kraken impact one more time, but not going to be able to get another refresh here. An ult used from Metacom, but already going to be getting that recharged. Going to have 4 ults almost on the side of UCB, and we're finally seeing some fight come out of them. Before it was just 0%, but now they actually have percentage on the board here, so maybe the mental has shifted in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, a lot better looks here to start things off. They've got control of the point. They've got the ult economy game. They're going to have an Adam Warlock ult before too long here, and they're over 60% of the way captured. I mean, if they can keep this up, if they can win the next fight, they might be able to string together just a couple fights and take the win here on point number 1 at least. So lots of sustain for this UCB squad this time around, but Georgia Tech still standing outside there. Metacom drags them in with the Bucky, and now the ult's coming out here. Shen overhead with the Meteor M looking for his mark, just barely misses B on the Namor there. Now here comes the Horn of Proteus from the Namor, but does not find its mark, or maybe hit Seraph Core there on the Invisible Woman. That's gonna spawn a whole flurry of ultimates here from both sides of the board. Invisible Woman all down, no support all down, no Convex did activate the Eternal Bond, excuse me, so at least support ults for both sides, but it's gonna be Georgia Tech emerging here victorious. There's the Adam Warlock ult, the Karmic Revival coming out to get UCB back in the fight. They managed to 0 to 99 this thing, but at the last second here, Georgia Tech is going to complete the flip here. So fight is not over from GT, but UCB is still very much active on this point.
Yeah, UCB getting it to 99%. They only need to win one more fight in order to guarantee the round for them. They cannot be getting these late kills, however. A little bit unfortunate to see these happening. And the Hella and the Namor were able to output so much damage, especially with that team up that they have available, where they just kind of drop squids on deaths, which is honestly kind of ridiculous when you think about it. What is up with Namor getting all of the most ridiculous team ups? First with him in Luna, and then him with Hulk, and now him with Hella. It's kind of ridiculous, no?
Yeah, and very impactful team-ups. I mean, the Gamma Charge was very popular. Now this Hella Namor ult, and that's what Georgia Tech's going to leverage here. So big damage potential for Georgia Tech as well.
Yeah, it looks like UCB is going to try to get pushing back up onto this objective here. Win is going to be looking onto the back line. However, the Hella is going to go down here from the side of Georgia Tech here, and you need to be able to stabilize. Ult is going to come through. Invisible Woman ult is going to be used. Manta is going to be used from the side of UCB. Also, the Captain America ult, they're kind of just dumping ults in the fight. They kind of need to win this right here, right now. Otherwise, it might be a large waste of ultimate abilities. The Mag ult goes wide here from the side of Georgia, and they're not able to find anything off of it. And it looks like UCB is actually going to retake this and win this engagement. Georgia dies with 3 ults. That's so terrible. I mean, oh, actually, no. This is domination, so you carry them over to the next round. So that's actually really good for them.
Yeah, probably going to look for a very, very early aggressive push from Georgia Tech on that second point. But the first one goes to UCB here, looking like a completely different team here on their map picks. So they'd be very comfortable with Krakoa. I guess in terms of Dom maps, wouldn't necessarily be my first choice, but it may be a comfort pick for them. And it shows here. So they're going to enter the fight with just 2 ults here, but they will have that Karmic Revival ready to go before too long. They popped a couple ults, but they did a good job of withholding some for the next fight here. Of course, Georgia Tech, they've got 3, potentially 4 if that Hella ult charges in time. So we're probably looking at a pretty hectic first fight here as we go to point number 2. But now UCB, big opportunity to close this thing out early and take us to map 3, maybe.
Yeah, it's still so bizarre to me, Marvel Rivals, that going into that next round and you can just open up with your ultimate abilities. It's just so weird to me as an Overwatch player. But yeah, maybe a lot of ult's going to be used here in this first fight. You have this Mag ult available. You have the Invisible Woman ult available. You don't have the Mag ult from the side of Georgia, so nothing really to cancel this Invisible Woman ult out unless you can get that silence onto her with the Emma Frost ult, which is honestly quite strong against their comp right now, especially if you can land it onto their supports that have their ultimates available. Looks like UCB is going to get this first point. Georgia's going to take this high ground here. Point unlocks in 5 seconds here. The tanks for Georgia Tech are going to decide to drop here. Kind of alone, however. Not going to be able to find too much value. The DPS are going to be staying on the high ground. Okay, there's the Emma Frost ult. Going to pop that Invisible Woman ult before it gets canceled, however. Going to drag them right on into it. Not able to find too much. Oh my gosh. Metcom is able to find 2 here with the Kraken impact here. Maybe gets a third. Nope, goes down to the Emma Frost before getting that secured kill. The Cloak and Dagger ult is going to be popped here from Convex. And it's just so back and forth. The Karmic Revival is going to be used onto meta. We are just getting ultimates back and forth. Pachko has an ultimate available. However, this Emma Frost, excuse me, I don't know how to pronounce your name. And honestly, it's your fault for naming yourself that. Is going to be taken so low, but going to be able to stay alive for right now. And UCB finally gets the first cap after so many ults are popped. All ults are popped from the sides of Georgia Tech. But even while these ults are happening, you know, UCB still has this percentage climbing.
Yeah, I mean, big wins here from Winboy as well there on that Freedom Charge, getting in there and scrambling Georgia Tech here while UCB takes first cap yet again, 20% already, and Metacom armed and dangerous, an explosive win for UCB in that fight there. They find 4 KOs out of nowhere, and just like that, they are in the fight here. Gonna drain the Kraken impact, unfortunately, no follow-up there, as pretty much all of Georgia Tech's back in the spawn room, but man, again, on domination right now, UCB is absolutely dominant here. They're going to have a bit of an uphill battle to hold this thing. They do have the invisible bounty to go, but there's going to be a couple ults that come out from Arctorius there. We'll have the oh my goodness, the Psionic Seduction, and the Magneto will also have Meteor M, and Convex going to have Eternal Bond here. There's that Psionic Seduction. They find the pick, the follow-up with the ultimate as well. And of course, that is going to force out their invisible boundary here. Shin goes up for the Meteor M, comes down, and does find B on that Hella. So Hella back to the spawn room for now, but UCB up to 65% now. They are still fighting. No one has dropped from their side just yet, and they are on this point ready to hold this thing to the very end.
Yeah, this is a different UCB than what we saw last map. Maybe they put their big brothers on the keyboards or something, but we are seeing absolute domination right now. Not on Georgia Tech, or not from Georgia Tech, but from UCB. The Mag ult's going to come through here, going to connect onto the Mantis. They might be able to get this flip coming out here, especially with that Judge, Jury, and Executioner coming out. However, the Karmic Revival is going to be able to revive all that die. And wow, I mean, actually every single person died, but gets resurrected here. So they are going to give the flip up, but going to have an entire team back if they decide to push right back in. They have the ultimate to possibly top it. The Captain America ult is available for them. Oh, you missed with the Kraken impact. That's a pretty bad miss, actually. You're not able to connect onto their support. The Cloak and Dagger ult is going to be popped here. If you were able to get that kill, that probably would have guaranteed the map right there. But the Invisible Woman ult is going to be popped here. Emma Frost is going to be using her ult in return. Going to be kind of pulling all of these players inwards. Going to be able to get the kill into the Invisible Woman, so not going to have that ult available. Turkey's going to decide to res himself. It looks like after so much time, Georgia Tech is finally going to stabilize and have control at this point, already at 40%.
Yeah, a war of attrition here. UCB insane on the sustain, but ultimately Georgia Tech finds the breakthrough here, and now at about 50%, they are gaining quick here. 89%, I feel like, is close to final fight territory. It can be, especially because there is no Dr. Strange on the table in this game, so big opportunity here for UCB. If they can win a team fight, they can potentially win the map here. They've got 3 ultimates. They'll have a Karmic Revival ready again here before too long, but they are going to be staring down an Invisible Woman ult. They're going to be staring down a Hela ult, and they might be up against a Meteor in here as well. But UCB ready to fight here. Kraken Impact online. I do believe Meta got the reset on that, so maybe going to look for some picks, but just can't quite break through just yet. Archita throws down the Mantis ult to get things rolling here, and finally they find a breakthrough. They take down Pachko. Winboy winning that fight there as well. Ults coming out from Georgia Tech, almost like panic ults at this point. IMB overhead on the Hela ult. Does manage to find 1 or 2 picks here, so GT reversing this fight here. Over 90% of the way captured. UCB running out of time and running out of resources here. Merkia does have that Karmic Revival ready to go. Has not popped it quite yet on the Adam ultimate here as OT goes into effect. Looks like they're just going to wait for the respawn here and just get back up and running. They do have another point to play with, but no Doctor Strange portal. Meta swapping to the Spider-Man for the last minute touch there to keep the overtime alive, but cannot capitalize on it. So point number 3 here, Georgia Tech battling back on the Grove.
Yeah, I'm amazed that UCB let that kind of slip through their fingers. It was looking so good for them. Yes, they were going into these ultimate abilities, but, you know, they had the Karmic Revival online. They could have popped that and had a lot of people that were going down from the Hela, you know, revived, but just wasn't able to, you know, have it used. And now Georgia Tech is going to be up in ult charge. Medcom swapped over to the Spider-Man. I don't know if he's going to stay on that. He might, but it would be quite interesting to see that. I'm a little concerned about... Well, okay, we're going to see Metacom onto the Moon Knight, something that we saw a lot of in our last matchup, but this is our first time seeing it here. Going to be on the last point. That's honestly my least favorite point of this map, but we're going to see what they're able to do here.
Yeah, gonna be kind of an interesting situation here. Georgia Tech's basically entering with 3 ultimates. UCB does have a Karmic Revival. I doubt they're gonna pop that in the first fight, but I could be proven wrong here. Winboy is gonna have that Freedom Charge before too long, and Seraph will also have the Invis ult too. So there is some potential for some back and forth here because Georgia Tech not gonna have that Meteor M, not gonna charge fast enough to get into this first fight here, but UCB is gonna have some last minute ultimates coming in clutch as this fight gets underway. But hey, left clicks from the Magneto there. Shin taking down Pashko. Very early pick forces out the Psionic Seduction from Exorius here again, and not enough value out of that one either. Metacom lets that Moon Knight ult go. Already got it charged and ready here, and still 3 ultimates left for UCB as they find the Magneto on the side of Georgia Tech there. Convex throws down that Eternal Bond yet again. That's going to be a response by UCB, taking that Invisible Barrier down. But man, Georgia Tech running out of resources here. They're on their last couple ults, and UCB still have a Freedom Charge, and they've still got a Karmic Revival, and there's the revival. Adam getting everybody back up. Merkia getting his team back into the fight here, but it is going to be Georgia Tech on the first pick here.
Yeah, the Captain America ult is going to come out here, going to be looking at this backline, and this Punisher going to be able to find a kill onto the Invisible Woman, so not going to be having that. However, the ult has already been used. The Captain America is so incredibly low here, going to be able to survive for just right now. Barely gets kept alive from the Warlock. Flip is going to come through from UCB. Now already going to be getting that percentage. Georgia Tech did get first cap, but it was only 17%. This Magneto is taking so much damage here, but is going to be able to back out with their life. Going to have this Meteor M online, and maybe we see something happen with it. Metacom already going to be building up another Moon Knight ult. We see how fast this guy gets ultimate charge, and we love Mark Spector here in this household. So we're hoping to see a lot of value come out from Metacom. Going to pop that ult. Magneto ult's going to come through here. You're going to be trying to connect onto the backline here. Mantis is so low. Going to have Bubble Force. Not going to be able to find anything happening just yet. Mantis ult's going to become popped, so it's not like they're going to be able to find any kills off of this Seduction here. And it looks like the point is still going to be in UCB's favor. And they're going to win this fight out.
Yeah, at first just kind of seemed like they were looking to buy some time, but hey, if you can get a team fight win on the side with it, why not? That's exactly what UCB does on the stagger as well. Takes down Luxurious later, so now they're Emma going to be walking it back, or they're going to have to give up some more capture progress to UCB. But hey, now they're holding a lot of cards here. They do have that capture point, of course. They've got 2 ultimates, one of those being a support ult, so they've got a lot of cards here. Georgia Tech, they've got 3 ultimates, 2 of those being supports, and a hella ult, so there is some potential here for an offensive onslaught from Georgia Tech. The UCB has been kind of white-knuckle grip on this point so far, and Pashko taken down again. Very similar story from Shin there on the Magneto, finding that very early pick. So 1 ultimate off the table, and Severin back to the spawn room as well. Magneto sends him there too. Marchino will find Convex, battle of the strategist here, and it's UCB coming out on top of that one as Merkia finds one too, and Shin picking up another one as well. 4 ultimates for UCB, 90% capture progress. This is going to be tough for Georgia Tech to climb this mountain.
I don't even know if they get touch. I'm going to be honest. I don't think they get touch. Georgia might not get this touch here. Oh, the blade barely gets onto it. I mean, it's going to be such a late... I hate that skin so much, by the way. The blade is going to go down here. Going to be looking at that Magneto ultimate. Patco is able to find 2, however. But they don't touch! But they don't touch! They don't touch, and UCB is going to win this map, taking us to a map 3. Oh my goodness gracious, you kill 3, you could have gotten the flip. Pachko killed 3 with ultimate, but you don't touch! Oh my god! And UCB makes the score 1-1.
Yeah, wild comeback from this UC Berkeley squad here. Shin, of course, picking up the MVP, pretty much undisputed there, I would say. So many times bobbing up in the kill feed, putting in work on that map, a whole corporation's worth of work there. But it is going to be Calamar evening the score here. We're going to map number 3. It's going to be Georgia Tech's pick. So kind of an uphill battle here at the very end, but now you see the momentum shifted like a pendulum here. Cal MR picks up almost all the medals here, save for Convex's most heals in this match, but just not enough to keep the team in the fight here on domination. So they, man, it's almost like watching a completely different team here. You know, Shin picking up those 14 finals off of 29 elims, most elims in the match, and the most damage blocked. So, you know, again, taking damage and dishing it out to Metacom as well. Couple swaps in there for that duelist, but 26 elims, a triple KO somewhere in there, and 11 finals off 32k damage. So very, very impressive stuff from UCB to battle back and get that map 3 run back here.
Oh, I'm so... listen, I don't know how the rest of the map would have gone out, but Pachko getting that 3k was so critical, and Georgia Tech just needed to touch... for all you folks at home, you know, we're going to play a game who, you know, of age, of course. Take a shot every time a team C9's in the series, you know. It'll be quite a large number, apparently. Who knows if Georgia would have won that round? Who knows if they would have closed out the series? You know, there was still a lot of left map. But, you know, we are going to see Calamar, a different team than what we saw on the first one. But we are going to be seeing, you know, this is actually a good series. Before it was not that great, but now it's actually a little bit of fight back from Calamar.
Yeah, absolutely. A completely different look here from team. It really is a tale of 2 different maps. I was a little skeptical, I will not lie, about going over to that domination, especially with how rough the convergence first point looked. But apparently that was all in my head. That or they have some different thing. But we're actually jumping right into the next game. So I will see you guys in just a couple of minutes. We're going to game number 3 here.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Soren. It was good to see your face, even for just a small amount of time. But we are going to be going into our next one. Going to be Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil. That's how you pronounce it, right? Yggdrasil. God, so. Norse terms are so weird, man. Like that's a YGG. How is it Yggdrasil? That's so bizarre. Anyways, we are going to see Shin and Severin hovering over the Human Torch, something that we've talked about, but we haven't seen that much of in these last couple of games, last couple of series, last couple of maps. So maybe we'll be seeing those happen. The Protect onto the Magneto from the side of Cal MR with a rocket ban. GT is going to be banning out the Mantis and the Emma Frost while also protecting their own Mantis. So going to be a one-sided Mantis affair right now on this 3rd point. It is a convoy. So... you know, unfortunately, my prairies were not enough for, you know, us to just avoid Convoy entirely. But, you know, at least it's a new map. At least it's a new map.
Yeah, and Yggdrasil Path really kind of tends to be the choice of the pros. You know, you see a lot of Yggdrasil Path in Ignite series, even in like Tier 2 and Grassroots Marvel Rivals. You see this one come up a lot. The pros really like this one. It does feel pretty even, you know. Defense gets their hits in right off the bat on that first checkpoint. Once they round the corner, it's kind of all offense. And then that third and final run to that last checkpoint is kind of all defense. So it is kind of an even back and forth here. They are kind of pulling some similar notes to the last couple of draft phases. Georgia Tech saving themselves that Winter Soldier and banning out the Psylocke as well. Over on the side of UCB, they are taking down the Venom here too. So yeah, you know, final opportunities here. You know, if you've been watching the series from the start, you may not have thought we'd get to this point, right? Hollow Dajali, a very, very dominant win for Georgia Tech. 2 members not even being eliminated one single time. Now here we are, UCB kind of on this run back, this absolute tear through the rest of this series, and we're rounding out this last bit of the ban phase here. Cal MR banning out the Magneto, and they're going to save themselves a Doctor Strange, so they will finally get to play Strange, and Georgia Tech will too, because Cal MR out of bans. So Strange back on the table for both of these teams. But yeah, I mean, it really feels like just a total reversal here, and potential for a reverse sweep from UCB if they can close this last one out. But it is going to be Luna banned last, so no Fate of Both Worlds on either side of this match.
Make all the difference.
Honestly, whoa, okay, sorry, I just almost got hit with a flashbang there. I thought I saw an Angela for a second there, but these are interesting picks here. We do see the Mac come through. We do see Windboy on that Captain America that we have seen him dominate on. Interesting that they protect the Strange, but they're not going to run out on it. That's quite interesting to me, honestly.
Yeah, I think maybe they want to just rely more on having the portal if they need it. I think Strange is a little better this season, but he did take some hits a patch or two ago, and he kind of fell out of contention, at least in terms of just a Vanguard you play straight up. We have seen some Strange today too, but Georgia Tech is going to run it here at least. UCB keeping the Strange on the back burner. But yeah, a couple of interesting things coming out here. Medicom on the Spider-Man for now, but again, you know, you can never trust this until the doors are open. But for Georgia Tech, those doors are open. They've got 2 Vanguards, 3 strategists, and 1 DPS. So pretty standard triple strat comp coming out from them here.
Yeah, pretty interesting to see. We are going to see a pretty classic comp coming out from UCB, something similar to what they ran last time, except for Metacom onto that Bucky, which I think we saw him open up with, but he ended up on a Moon Knight, I believe. But I'm interested to see how they attack this point. This is a very, I would say, a different Convoy than what most people are used to when they think of Convoy. I think this is a different type of style of Convoy. I think you have to play it differently. But we're going to have to see what happens here. The Captain America is already going to be in this backline here. Going to try to go for a hook. Not able to hook onto anybody just yet. A lot of damage getting pumped right on in to the UCB team, especially with the Captain America. Being able to get the kill on to the Winter Soldier here, that's actually a really big opening pick here, as that's their only DPS. Yes, you still have your Vanguards. Yes, you still have your supports, but a lot of your damage is now gone.
Yeah, I mean, UCB really on an aggressive push here. Uxorius, though, throwing down that Eye of Agamotto here. Does not hit a single stun off of it, though. We've got Invisible Woman ults charged on both sides. Pachko on the Jeff this time. I do see some DPS players picking him up in triple strat comps. Jeff ult coming out. It's ults in all directions there. Cracking impact online for Metacom, but taken down. Kill switch finds it on that Emma and stops the Kraken impact here. Several KOs onto UCB. That's going to force out that Adam Warlock all very early here, but they've made a pretty good push, more than 3/4 of the way to that first checkpoint as they return from the grave and find some KOs themselves here, taking down several members of Georgia Tech, and that is a Doctor Strange portal used by GT, but they take the fight straight to Georgia's doorstep here, taking them down as they walk out the room here. That is going to be a confirmed checkpoint number 1, and 5 minutes on the clock for UCB.
That was really good of Shin right there, body blocking that portal so nobody can get through and contest, letting them get that first point. That was pretty funny to watch. I haven't seen somebody do that in a hot minute, so that was quite interesting to see right there. A lot of ults are available here from the side of Georgia Tech. However, the Captain America ult is going to be popped first. Going to be looking really hard on this backline. just going to kind of into the backline right. You're going to get slept, however. Going to be at 900 HP, though. Going to be taken pretty low, but going to be able to stay alive. Metacom is able to get the better of I am a B. And it looks like the Kraken impact is going to be happening. The Stranglehold is going to be absolutely huge. Going to be getting 3 kills here, 4 kills from the side of the Strange. Going to make it maybe 5. No, not able to get the 5th final blow here, but a really strong Stranglehold here. So we are going to see Georgia Tech finally getting a hold going.
Yeah, winning the battle, but not quite the war yet. Still 4 minutes on the clock for UCB, halfway to checkpoint number 2, and half of the map over, all cleared for them. They're coming in with 2 ults, maybe an Invisible Woman ult here. Metacom a little bit out of position there, takes a couple hits to the dome, but able to survive that one. So gonna be a few ults online for UCB. Georgia Tech may have a Sonic Seduction here, but B taken down yet again. Parchita on the cloak finds the Winter Soldier, so 1 ult off the table here for Georgia Tech for now, as UCB comes back aggressive here and continuing that aggression. Eternal Bond coming down now from Parchita. They've got 4 more ultimates make that in the back on the back burner to activate as they try to open up this fight here yet again. Invisible Woman ult already offline for Georgia Tech here, so Sustain in trouble. They do manage to take out the Adam Warlock though on the side of UCB, and they are trading here 2 for 2, not favoring either side, but Merkia gets back up in the fight and activates the Karmic Revival. Armed and dangerous though on the side of Georgia Tech. B throwing down the Winter Soldier and taken down yet again by Shin. Had her B's number this entire time, it seems like, on that Magneto here, as UCB battling back. They've made some more progress here, 3/4 of the way to that second checkpoint, and still 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. Plenty of time for them to play with here.
Yeah, and this fight is still going on, not giving up. UCB decides to pop the Captain America ult. We are going to see Murky swap off of the Adam Warlock to go to the Wolverine. Going to be grabbed out of midair. Going to be taken so low. Going to have that passive force. Going to be taking a 1,000,000,000,000 damage, a Magmillion damage here from the Emma Frost. The Invisible Woman ult is going to come through from the side of UCB. A big hook onto that Emma. Going to be taken so incredibly low. Going to go down here from the Invisible Woman ult. Metacom is going to pop that ultimate ability. Going to be getting so much damage going in, but not able to get any final blows or any resets here. Oh, Georgia Tech needs to touch here, or else they're going to give up this point. 220 meters left to go. They get a hook onto Coffee, but not able to get the kill. Pachko goes down yet again. Maybe he has to swap off of this. Oh my gosh, another Bucky comes through here, and it's going to connect onto a lot of people of UCB. The cloak ult is going to come through from USCB themselves. Shin is able to get the kill onto the Bucky, so that ultimate is going to be shut down. Convex is going to be next. Code Switch is going to go down, and it looks like UCB is finally going to get the point.
Yeah. Great job by Georgia Tech, shaving off plenty of time. UCB down now to 3 minutes as they move into this last part of the map here. So big opportunity for Georgia Tech to find a foothold and get some defense going here, because UCB kind of been on a tear there. Slowed down a little bit right before checkpoint number 2, but now kind of back in the fight once again. They still have a Meteor M ready to go. Axurius there does have that Eye of Agamotto online as well. So not a ton of ultimates. They're going to have a Sonic Seduction here in just a second too, but not a lot of resources so far as they get into this last checkpoint here. 2:30 still on the clock as they're going to go back to a little bit of neutral, just trading some blows here, but B will find a pick there onto meta. Winter Soldier versus Winter Soldier, and it's Georgia Tech on top here first. Eye of Agamotto comes out from Georgia Tech, does find Shin there on the stun and takes him down, so follow-up is good from Georgia Tech here. Convex finding a pick as well on the Mantis, so Georgia Tech getting some hits in here, finding some members of UCB, but now they have 3 ultimates. They may have a last stand from the Wolverine there before too long. Parchita not too far behind on an ultimate. I mean, we may be looking at a 6 ult fight for UCB here in a second.
This is going to be a really aggressive fight here from the side of UCB. They have these ultimates available that they are able to use to have so much sustainability. There's the production kind of come through. Metacom is going to get a lot of connections, but the Mantis ult is good from the side of Georgia here. Going to have another Bucky ult pop, but neither of them are going to find any value. However, Shin does go down here. Last stand is going to be used, not going to be able to get any kills. Both supporters are going to be used here. All supporters are going to be used here from the side of Georgia Tech. So they don't have any ultimates for this next fight, actually, besides this strange ult. But Pachko has a four people in his mouth here. Wow, he is a hungry boy, and he manages to get all 3 of them dead, except for the Captain America, who managed to get away with his life to tell the tale of the shark that was in Moby Dick.
Yeah, Pashko running it down to the local Chinese buffet and picking up most of UCB off that Jeff ult. But now, here's the issue that GT is going to be facing here in the last 60 seconds of this defense. It's the ult economy game. They do have an Aya Bagamoto. B is going to have a Kraken impact somewhere along the line, but they're going to stare down 3 ults from UCB, and one of them's going to find a 2K there. Shin on the Magneto, master of magnetism there, finds 2 members, and it's 2 supports too. So heals in trouble for Georgia Tech, and it already is showing. Kill switch falls as well. Xorius goes down too. Not enough sustain to keep Georgia Tech in the fight. So UCB clearing a path for themselves here off the back of 1 ultimate for Shin, and Meta will find a kill there as well. Takes him down off of the Moon Knight ult. So now UCB back in form here in the last 30 seconds of this fight.
Yeah, and the good news is that UCB wins that fight with only the Mag ult, so they still have this Cloak and Dagger ult and the Captain America ult available, and they're getting really close to this Invisible Woman ult. IMB is going to have this Bucky ult available. This Kraken impact has to go huge, but UCB has the means to deal with it if they need to. Pod's going to stop over the Ultron. Shin is going to go down, however. The Seduction is going to be used here. Not going to be able to pop any ult here from the side of UCB with it. It's going to be finding so many kills. The Cloak and Dagger ult comes out, but it's not going to be able to find anything. There's the Invisible Woman ult coming through from the side. They have this. Oh, so that's a huge Kraken impact from the side of Georgia. They had this revival available, but they're not going to have it for the overtime, meaning they're going to be stopped right before they can get the full cap, giving Georgia a chance to close us out with a really good offense.
Yeah, and a very, very fortunate picks for Georgia Tech there. They took Merkia down before the Adam Warlock ult was fully charged, so no Karmic Revival in that last fight. I have to imagine we might be looking at a different situation if they were able to get it off there, but no, unfortunately, no such luck. Sent back to the spawn room before, I think it was at like 97 or 98%, so absolute heartbreaker there. But the bright side for UCB is that they pushed that payload quite far. I mean, they're looking at 2 full checkpoints, and I think it was 80, 90, 96 meters is what Georgia Tech is going to have to do to win this series. So backs against the wall here, heels on the edge of the cliff, Georgia Tech, as they are going to look to battle back here, swapping sides with UCB on defense. Now, Parchita does go over to the Rocket, but for the most part, they are sticking with the same comp here. And I mean, you know, I feel like they did pretty well on offense. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's what they're going to go with here. Georgia Tech, Pashko did switch over to the Ultron. The Rage of Ultron activated there at the very last second in that last fight, came in clutch as well, but it was really that combination of Pashko's Rage of Ultron and IMB's Kraken impact that just wiped out UCB before they even had a chance to realize what was happening to them. So here we go, doors open, Georgia Tech on the attack now, trying to take down UCB. They have quite a long road ahead of them.
Yeah, but the road of less traveled is often a better one, as I think the saying goes. I definitely botched that, but it's something like that. But the road is it's very apparent for what Georgia Tech has to get done here. They need to get it to almost third point, not exactly third point, but just close enough. The grab is going to come through onto Shin, going to be punched into the team. He's going to be taking so much damage. Going to get kicked back in, but the sustainability is just barely able to keep him alive. He's going to go down eventually. He got kicked twice into the team and grappled, but the BRB beacon is going to come through. Windboy is going to go down to the Convex. The Mantis is going to be available. IMB already has his Kraken impact. Going to be super aggro with it. The Amplifier is going to come through here, but it's already broken. Oh my god, the Rage of Ultron comes through. There's so much damage is coming through. Both the Invisible Woman ults are coming through, and we already have a much closer first point than we did last round.
Yeah, uphill battle here so far, but Georgia Tech brought the climbing gear clearly. Psionic Seduction from Kill Switch here as they try to keep the KOs rolling. Just over 60 seconds of their time used up as they're rounding one of the last corners here. There's the Karmic Revival coming out from Merkia. They're going to try to get back on this fight and wrench down a defense here. Aya Bagamoto from Xorius does find 2 on UCB. They'll follow it up and take down Merkia. So Adam Warlock back to spawn for now. Parchita's got the CYA beacon back up and ready to go here as Georgia Tech inches ever closer to that first checkpoint. Just under 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. 77 meters cleared. Georgia Tech, though, out of alternates and maybe out of time in this fight here. Shin holding on to that Meteor M and gonna let it go now. Finding his mark, does get some damage down, but doesn't find the KO off the ult alone there. He will take down Convoy, though, or Convex, excuse me, and Metacom will find B as well. But Pashko on the 2K from the Ultron as well. So it is chaos here. 2 for 3 favoring Georgia Tech in that particular particular situation. But again, UCB buying themselves some time here, wasting that timer away of Georgia Tech. They're going to get this checkpoint here. They're going to get the time reset.
Just
mitigate the damage a little bit. Oh, wow. Okay, maybe I'm a liar.
Oh,
Winboy
my
coming
God.
through with the strange portal, trying to get the team back in the fight here. Almost doesn't make it through the portal himself, but the healers are on a point here, just trying to waste even more of that clock away. They're finding the ability to get back in the fight. The full ace, that is going to be the time reset that Georgia Tech was looking for all along.
Listen, I have ADHD. However, I think that I needed an Adderall to keep up with all of that. I mean, we had multiple cyclings of ults. I think 3 Rocket Raccoon ults were used and 2 Emma Frost ults were used. It was an absolute brawl fest of ultimates getting constantly used. But in the end, Georgia Tech is finally going to be able to get it. Murky's going to go down here. This looks like it's going to be a much cleaner engagement. And it looks like I'm a B is going to prove who the better super soldier is. Captain America, who? He says Bucky is where it's at right now. Win is going to get a little bit of contesting onto the objective, waste a little bit more time. But it doesn't really matter. In fact, it kind of staggers them out a little bit. But, you know, now you have these ultimates available from the side. Oh, a portal's going to come through. Going to try to block them into their spawn. Not going to be able... I don't know if it worked all too well. I can't really see their spawn right now. But we are going to get a lot more push coming through. 3 minutes left here. And it looks like UCB can get aggro with this amplifier that's going to be used. Every single amplifier that's been used has been immediately destroyed, and this one is no exception. And they're going to pop the Invisible Woman ult. Rage of Ultron's going to come through, going to connect on the Metacom here. Shin is going to go down next here. Captain America is so close to going down, but Murky's going to pop this revival here, going to resurrect everybody, let them get in for another fight. Kill the boy. Oh my god, Killfish is going to get one. I'm a B is going to go down. The Mag ult is going to come through here from Shin, going to be looking at this man, just going to blow him up. And looking at this Emma Frost, one of the last remaining members, going to have this ult available, going to decide to pop it. The Ultron is available to maybe pop something. The Strange ult is good, and it's going to connect onto a lot. But no kills are going to come through, and it looks like the Captain America ult is going to come through and keep everybody alive. I don't know if I love these ultimates from the sides of Georgia Tech. They pop both their tank ults to just lose the fight. Winboy gets a 2K, and it looks like UCB is going to keep holding this. 2 minutes remaining, and Georgia Tech's ult economy is kind of in shambles, looking like the Venezuelan economy.
Yeah, they really emptied the coffers here. We're going to go back to neutral for a while, but Seraph will still find a pick on the Page code there, keeping the hurt on here. You know, for a while there, I really thought UCB was out of that fight, and we were looking at a Georgia Tech time reset yet again. But here we are now, Georgia Tech fully reset, walking it back from spawn here. 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go, and they'll find Metacom, though. B takes him down. Winter Soldier dueling this entire map back and forth here. 2 ultimates ready to go for UCB, though. They're going to have one from Seraph Core as well. That'll be the Invisible Woman ult. Overhead, though, armed and dangerous. Metacom shot down, armed and what? Couldn't let him finish that. Taking out the skies there, and that forces the swap. Metacom going over to Moon Knight now to keep things going here. Georgia Tech does get control of the payload here once again. They find the picks to do it, but Seraph Core are going to give them an opportunity to dig in here. This UCB squad not getting themselves a lot of breathing room when they finally lock in those defenses. Their backs are against the wall every time, but it seems like they play best under pressure here, though they are falling victim to that pressure. Farmic Revival coming out from Murkia here to get the team back in the fight, revive those tanks. They are really focusing Winboy down over there. Do not want the Captain America in this fight anymore here. Meteor M goes up. Shin really low. He's going to have to let that drop. Does manage to find B, but too much sustain. Convex's ultimate up and running well there to stay in the fight. 30 seconds left to go. Georgia Tech has been in this fight for like, what, 2 minutes? A minute? I'm not sure now. I've lost complete track of time.
Is that another amplifier? How many ult views have we gotten? But they've all been immediately destroyed. No amplifier value is going to come through. A lot of trades are going back and forth between these teams. And it looks like Georgia Tech is going to maybe be able to get this to Captain America. Ult is popped, and the Rage of Ultron is available if they decide to use it. The Strange ult is popped. And we do have the Invisible Woman ult from the side of USCB. The Rage of Ultron still in the pocket here. IMFB does have to crack an impact. However, the Invisible Woman is going to go down here. From the side of Georgia Tech, this is an overtime situation now. They need to win this. They popped the Rage of Ultron here. They're looking at the Captain America really hard now. He's really low. Gonna not be able to stay alive for much longer here, and it looks like Georgia's gonna be able to capitalize and cap this. The Moon Knight ult comes through. The Rez is able to get onto Shin. Metacom goes down, however, and that's gonna be the point for Georgia Tech. I'm about to lose my voice with what's happening.
Very, very long fights, very indicative of where we're at in terms of the meta, but these two teams putting on an absolute war here. UCB, again, like I was talking about, they find the defense when the checkpoint is almost secured, so they leave no room for error when they're actually able to lock in this defense, so they need to give themselves some breathing room here as we get into this last bit of the map. Just 60 seconds for Georgia Tech to close out this final checkpoint. It's going to be a little bit short of the full map, but just enough to buy some time for UCB here. There's a Psionic Seduction coming out from Kill Switch yet again. They'll find one KO out of it. Merkia taken down. Seraph as well. The strategists are going offline for UCB at the worst time possible there. Invisible Woman all forced out. Pashko overhead with the Rage of Ultron, but shot down by Shin on that Magneto yet again here as Merkia trying to build that Adam Warlock ult as fast as they can, but just not fast enough to save the tanks for UCB here. Now the squishy's wide open for Georgia Tech here. 25 seconds left to go, and they are on the move.
Interesting use of ult right there. They have another recontest. I don't really know why they decided to pop the Rocket ult and their Magneto ult. Yes, Georgia Tech popped their Rage of Ultron and their ammo crossbow, but you could have kind of taken that loss and then moved on. But it looks like it's gonna now have 7 seconds left. Metacom is gonna get 2 kills here, and it's gonna be down to the wire. Absolutely. Kraken Impact is almost online for IMFB, but he's gonna be taken so incredibly low here from Shin. Shin is gonna be kind of looking for this kill. Kraken's not gonna be able to come out. Sirikor has this Invisible Woman ult available. Winboy is gonna be so incredibly low. Mantis ult's gonna be popped here from the side of Georgia Tech, and it looks like they're gonna try to get a recontest going in here. Rage of Ultron is gonna be connected. There's the Captain America ult and the Invisible Woman ult from the side of UCB. No other ultimates available besides the revive. Oh, the Mantis goes down here, and IMA-B is walking back to point right now. So much is happening on the point. It is overtime. They need to stay on. The ultimate dies 98% to ult, so it's just going to be up to B here with this Kraken Impact if he can get back in time here. Kraken Impact is going to be used here, and it's going to be looking at this backline here, but the sustainability is going to be happening. Winboy is going to be able to get the kill onto the Invisible Woman here, and the Karmic Res is going to be used, and it looks like UCB is going to be able to hold, beating Georgia Tech.
2, 3.
Yeah, absolute war of attrition to the very end, but UCB finds the picks at the last minute, and that's all they needed to finish that defense. So they do manage to lock it in on the run up to that third and final checkpoint, and once again, just one more for the road. Shin picking up both MVPs off of Berkeley's wins here on the Magneto. So absolutely, undisputedly in this series at least, the master of magnetism stands before you here. 28-13 record, and that closes out the series. Yes, indeed, upset there for UCB, defeating Georgia Tech here. And man, if you look at the stats here, it doesn't look real. 55 elims for Kill Switch, 50 elims for Exorius, plenty of final hits for B as well, 21 on that Winter Soldier, but it is Cal MR that takes the win. UC Berkeley dominating here at the very end. So, I mean, 48k damage from Metacom that round, mostly on Winter Soldier.
Look at how much healing the supports of Cal have. Oh my god. 58k,
yeah, far beyond
100k. 53K. Holy moly. Georgia Tech has more elims, absolutely. But by god, Cal just won't die because of these supports. Wow, that is so impressive. Also, look at how much damage Murky was able to get on the Adam Warlock. So much pressure. This scoreboard is unbelievable, to say the least. It is so impressive what was able to happen. I mean, 53 assists from Convex. I mean, you see... I mean, this is astounding to look at. The medals are all over the place. This was such a back and forth. What a beautiful match to watch. I was worried at first with what we saw from the first map, you know, with that absolute domination of a full hold. But man, did Cal MR make it worth it at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think I would have guessed that this outcome was going to be inevitable, especially, like you said, after that game one. That game one was super strong for Georgia Tech, but the moment we swap over to the domination, it just seemed like Calamar took the reins of the series and they never let go. That, I mean, game three was a lot more back-to-back. It was a lot more competitive than both the first two probably combined. But that stat line absolutely is incredible, and I have to give a massive shout out to a player who I don't think got enough credit throughout that last game, because even though their stats are not as crazy as everyone else's, the ultimates are the reason why their stats are so crazy. Merkia on that Adam Warlock. The ultimates that man pulled out were absolutely insane, constantly getting 2, 3, 4 reses sometime, just putting their team back into the fight every single time. It seemed like there was a little bit of an advantage. That's why we saw Georgia Tech with that many kills, because they were getting so many kills. It's just, you have to kill him twice, sometimes 3 times, because I think they also had a Rocket in one of these previous games. So yeah, absolutely incredible performances. You were right. The strategist line was absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, I find myself saying this more and more as the days goes on, but you can't just look at the map score for these games. You have to look at the full stat line, and this stat line tells you an insane story. I mean, Georgia Tech, so, the numbers are off the chart. I mean, it's looking like Ignite type numbers. These are 2 teams very competitive at the top of the CRS. These are single digit seeded teams, battling it out. And I mean, there was a momentum shift there, right? The beginning of this match, Georgia Tech came in absolutely dominant on map number 1. And then, UCB kind of battling back. They did pretty well on map 2. I wouldn't say totally dominant. There was definitely a back and forth, but that map 3 really felt like it was all UCB. There were a couple of road bumps here and there, but that just kind of goes to show you how quickly that momentum can shift and how it can be really hard to come back when you lose it, especially in a best of 3. You just don't have a lot of time to recover.
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. It started off slow for Cal. I think the first one was absolutely dominating from the side of Georgia Tech. The second one, I think Georgia Tech may have had a chance. Unfortunately, they decided to C9. Well, I mean, I guess you don't choose to C9, but you know what I mean. I mean, I'd go with the big 3K into not touching the objective has just made me facepalm. And then the last one was just absolute cinema, just the peak of Marvel Rivals right there. Absolute stuff from everybody. Not a single person was a weak link. Great showings from both of these teams, and honestly, I would be so ecstatic to cast any more of their future games, and I really hope we see another matchup like this sometime in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. But that is going to wrap up pretty much everything we got for you guys tonight. Diatonic, Mega Ninja, any final thoughts before we send it home for the night?
I mean, day by day, collegiate teams and Marvel Rivals keep looking better and better. And, I've said it before, I'll say it again. These kind of tournaments and these kind of leagues are showing you what the next generation of competitive rivals is going to look like. The game is still early in its esports phase. We're about ready for the first real major world championship LAN with an audience. But, this game is going to look different a year from now. I promise you it will look very different competitively. And I won't be too shocked to see some of the names we're seeing now up in that Ignite circuit as well. So yeah, I mean, these teams really just showing that they understand this game at a level that the pros do too, and off to an amazing start. And I'm sure, hopefully, a long and fruitful career for all of them, really.
Yeah, I mean, it is exciting to see these players play. And honestly, what I love right now is that the meta is still undefined. There's not a single main comp. There's no single characters that are better than others. Sometimes we see the Emma, sometimes we see the Strain, sometimes we see the Mag. Yes, there are certain options that are better than others, but there's no single comp that dominates over the others. And I love watching that, watching it grow, watching what works. We see Moon Knight right now, and I love Moon Knight, and it's so good to see Moon Knight getting playtime. And I'm super excited to be casting this. I'm super excited to be getting through these weeks. Each week we see better and better games. And yeah, I can't wait to cast next week, hopefully.
Absolutely. But with that, the competition is heating up here at the Collegiate Rivals Series, but that's all we have for you tonight. I will say I've done a disservice. This stream is, of course, sponsored by Yum2, so I'm going to give them their due. Cooking is better when it's shared. Yum2 is the couple's cooking app that makes meals fun, interactive, and stress-free with personalized recipes, planning, and step-by-step guides. Yum2 helps partners bond through food. They're proud to sponsor the Collegiate Rivals Series. You can join the waitlist at yum2.com and get a free week of premium at launch. Yum2, together taste better. But that is all we have for you tonight. Of course, special thanks to you two on the casting desk, Mega Ninja, Diatonic, Best best in the business, giving you all the rundown. Also, a special shout out to everyone on the production side making this stream happen. I can see here Warrior, Mimi, Kiri, also Swag, dealing with a little bit of scheduling issues with the MRC happening at the same time. So making everything actually happen despite all the chaos. So massive thanks to you, of course, to the admins making everything happen behind the scenes, the players for coming out and showing out and making every game a banger tonight, and of course you watching at home, because if you're not watching, what are we doing this for? You can catch us same time, same place next week for all of the best CRS and collegiate action. But besides that, hope you have a wonderful night.
I can be focused. Tell me where to find light in my tunnel. 'Cause I see you want help me with control. I can't stop feeling you when on my shoulders. You like ghost. Don't let me let go. Cause what would I do without you? What